Tell the truth.
Just pulled up to the house. Don't feel like getting out. I'ma just lay back and crack this window. I've been doing my best, taking a moment to rest, feeling stressed out. Give it a good. I put that on God when it gets hard. I stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home with the negativity, with that broken mentality. Jump on jealousy, my bad. Get away from me, 'cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey.
Tell the truth.
Got the world on me. Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Better way. Oh, Mom and Dad's only daughter, do I make you proud? Writing my life in lyrics to your life.
Tell the truth.
Seeking approval constantly. When it's my truth I own, I speak it, don't make sense now. Give it a good, yeah. Put that on good when it gets hard. Stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home with that. Jump on my back, 'cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. 'Cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Already got the world on me.
Tell the truth.
Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey, nigga, catch a break. Better way. Oh, way. Told you you so extra, but I know I'm the same. Yeah. Love me in spite of my trauma. Give me what I need instead of the drama. 'Cause when it pop off, it's like, oh my. All good all day, but the night we be going so hard on the flip side. So tell me what we on a day, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that way. Tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night. Now all of my calls go to voicemail. I block you so I don't raise hell. Should've talked through it in detail. Our separate ways ain't gon' end well, no. But when we get back, it's like, oh my. All bad all day, but the night I get that good till we act right. So tell me what we on today, babe. I could keep that same energy. When you go low, I go low too. But you'd rather stay high, I know you. Can we stay high, babe? I'd rather be on that wave. Tryna control our emotions. If we on the right side of passion, we could share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead. We could go all night.
been calm, cool, collected, but you pushing on my nerves. And knowing your intention, I'm under pressure. Okay, I'm admitting that a couple things I said got acidic in the tone, in the presence I get careless. Long as you know I come with imperfections. When you look at me, you see the soul through my flesh. You something special. Know you looking bomb, the way you dressing gone. Flex and hold it still and let my mind digest. You got the leverage, you got the upper handle on the situation. You worthy of a million more of the storms that we weathered. We fight retreating but you trying to kill the cycle. When nobody stressing that body like me, I know the way you like it. I treat you like a queen, run the castle, you a treasure. Feel like you setting fire to my desire for the pleasure. You a gem, got me blim, let's make amends. Know you can, I'm out here
trying to control our emotions.
Tell the truth.
If we on the right side of passion, we can share love in the ocean. But if you wanna go insane either way, baby, we could go all night. We could go all night. We could go all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go all night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Peace, everybody. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Information Man Show. This is going to be a great show today. I've got a fantastic, and I mean fantastic guests that's going to be coming on with me. They're already on with me right now, and they're backstage. And that's the 5 comics. The 5 comics are coming to you. And let me just tell you something. These brothers and these sisters are dynamic. Now, they have a YouTube channel. I've been watching them from afar. I had a chance to come on board with them, to talk to them, and they touch on hard-hitting topics, all the social topics you can think of, everything that's happening with black folks, black society. And they give a very strong critical analysis, assessment intelligently. And so I want them to introduce themselves to you, let you know, I want them to let you know about their channel, some of the things that they've done. They are comedians. They have experience in entertainment. They have experience in life. They have experience dealing with these social issues that we deal with as black people in America and across the world, diaspora. I want to thank you all for being here. I hope everybody can hear me. I hope everybody out there that's coming in, I know that folks will be coming in steadily, but surely. Do me the biggest favor. If you've got a cellular phone, you've got an Android phone, a tablet, go ahead and hit share on the share button on this YouTube channel, on this page, and go ahead and share this video to your social media, whether it be Facebook or Twitter, what have you. If you are a content creator out there, go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and share this in your community tab and get more folks over here to watch. Because what I want to do today is I want folks to really listen to these brothers and these sisters. These black folks are the real deal. I've said back now, y'all know me. I wouldn't be promoting a channel or letting y'all know about somebody that I think is dynamic if it wasn't the real deal. You know, it's the truth over here.
Tell the truth.
You know, I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't hold back any punches because I want folks to subscribe to their channel. In the description of this video, I have their channel. I want the moderators in the chat room to periodically run their channel through the chat room. I want folks to go over there and subscribe and check them out. Their broadcast, their podcast, whatever we call it these days, is very powerful. You can learn a lot. These are black folks that are experienced, know what they're talking about. That's most important.
Tell the truth.
To know what you're talking about, to be well researched, not just flipping in the wind, flipping your mouth. No, they know what the hell they're talking about. And I said to myself, man, I got to get them on the program because I want to pick their brain about a myriad of issues. Now, today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day. What's the shame about it is not that Dr. King is the shame. It is that, let me put something up here just as a reminder, is that Dr. King was about civil rights and justice, and he was about 65 Voters' Right Act. What is right? And now we have a situation where they're doing everything to keep us from voting. All these voter laws that they're trying to put in, ID, all this stuff to try to stop. Who you think they're trying to stop? They're trying to stop black people. We're the biggest voters, specifically to the Democratic Party. And that's the question I'm going to ask them. Should we even be continuing to vote for the Democrats? What have they done for us lately? That's another question. But we have been loyal. Dr. King fought for that, and we don't even have a voter rights bill under a Democratic president and Joe Biden. However, the Republicans are playing their games too. So I want to touch on all of this because the question is, everybody wants to celebrate the man, but are we really living to the man's aims and what he stood for? And of course, everybody likes to run to I had a dream speech when Dr. King was more radical than that speech. There's speeches that he has spoken about the government, against war and against the government that nobody wants you to hear or they don't talk about. So with that said, I want to bring these good folks on here. Let me also give everybody a reminder too. I just inked this deal not too long ago, and we're on Roku TV by way of my man out there, the BS3 TV Live. And that's a brother that I know who podcasts and have he has his own little sports network on social media, and he's doing the thing. And he brought me on board on the BS3 TV Live Roku. So if you're looking for me on Roku TV, you will find me through the BS3 TV Live network on Roku. So if you're at home and you have that as part of your package, you can watch the Information Man show on that package right now. So we're live all over the place. Facebook. I got us live on one of my Twitter pages, Facebook groups, you name it, YouTube, the whole 9 yard. I thank everybody out there, and here's a clap for you all. So with that said, let me go right into here. I want to put this on the screen here, and I want to put Dr. King right next to me, which I think is fitting for the brother to be next to me, to be next to us. And I want to thank everybody. Make sure if you have not subscribed to this channel that you go ahead and subscribe. Definitely would be appreciated. Hit the bell and notification and let someone know about the show. So with that said, let me get ready to bring my guest in right now. I'm going to bring everybody on the board, and I appreciate everybody out there. We're going to get this thing going right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right, we got everybody on the board. I appreciate you all for being here. This is the 5 Black Comics. All right, let's unmute. Everybody unmute. Everybody unmute, because I'm glad to have you all here.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Thank you for being here. Like I was saying to everybody out there, folks will be coming in little by little. I really appreciate your channel. I discovered your channel in my browser. It came up on YouTube, which is good because that means that you're doing good work over there for you to be coming through the browser. You're going through the algorithms. And I said, man, I love this show. I love the perspective. You get the balance of the brothers speaking, the ladies speaking. And when I listen to you, no one's arguing with each other. Everybody's being respectful, and you're saying things through clarity. You are speaking with experience. You know what you're talking about. And that resonated with me completely. All the things that you were talking about on your show, all the things that you critiqued, that you've gone over. And so with that said, I want you to let everybody know who you are, about why did you decide to come up with a YouTube channel. If I'm not mistaken, you have background experience, or you are currently comedians, or you've had experience in entertainment. So whoever wants to start first, let's hear from you. Let everybody know who you are and your channel and what you're about and things that you're involved in.
Tommy, you can go first.
Carl, you go first because you're the creator of the show. So
Okay.
Carl, you go first.
All right. So my name is Carl Yard, obviously my name. I'm originally from the Caribbean, Barbados to be specific. I'm a comedian. That's how I met Kevin and Desi. Tanya, I met from doing this show. She came on board a little later. And Pam is also from Barbados, and we've known each other from high school in Barbados. That's how I met Pam. And this show actually started when the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, a lot of our shows were canceled.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so there was nothing else really to do, and I've always wanted to do a show like this, to be honest. So I decided to put together a show where comedians can come on and speak from the heart without feeling like they needed to be funny. Because it always would irritate me that Black people have to make the most horrible things done to them funny. Right? I mean, you watch like the Chappelle Show or Richard Pryor. Down through the years, we always have to make our pain funny. Nobody else has to make their pain funny, you know. And when I would tell my white friends about, you know, about being pulled over by the police or being harassed by the police or any form of discrimination, they would go, "Oh man, just make it funny. Just make it funny." And that started to annoy me. Like, why do we always have to make it funny? So anyway, so I called up Kev and Desi, and then like I said, and I just wanted to do a show where we're honest. We're gonna be honest, and I told these guys we're not gonna lie about anything. We're not gonna make anything up. There's gonna be no conspiracy theories. Whenever we do a show, we research the hell out of it before we even speak on it. Because like I said, we're not. The one thing no one would ever say about the 5BlackComics show is that we're lying. Anything else about us?
Truth.
Tell the truth.
Say that we're lying, and we wanted to. I wanted to make sure of that, and that's exactly what we do. We come on every day and we talk about things that need to be spoken on, and we just tell the truth. Because I watch MSNBC or CNN or whatever, and you see Black people on there, and they're trying to speak truthfully, but they can't really. They can only they can only give so much truth and no more.
Right.
Because, you know, they'll be censored, and, you know, they're kind of restricted.
Right. Right. They can't really be themselves to speak the truth, and that's the problem. Because they want to mute our voices, our true voices, every step of the way. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Even though it's right there in your face. I mean, you see police shooting Black men literally for just being Black. That's it. Because we've all seen the videos where white people get pulled by the police. We showed a video on our show where the white dude was punching the police in the face, grabbed the police's baton, you know, wrestling with these people, and he still jumped in the police car and was able to drive away without a shot being fired.
Without a shot being fired. You're absolutely right.
I've seen video after video after video of white people cussing the police out, telling the police, "I have a gun." There was a video we showed. The white dude said, "I have a gun."
Come on, Tom. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what the police said.
Oh, gosh.
Come on, man. You don't want to do that. Right? I mean, it's right there. So I just feel we need to have a show where we can just say what we see. That's all we're doing. We just say, "Hey, it's the truth." You know, so that's why we do the show, and I'm glad lots of people you know, tuning in and hearing what we're saying. As with your show, the Information Man Show, I think these shows need and people want to hear this stuff, because you can only listen to CNN and MSNBC BS for so long.
Right. Yeah. Right. Wow. Miss Cooper, can you? Man, I'm just excited. I'm just excited to have you all here. This is fantastic. But Miss Cooper, you were the one that I actually was able to make contact with. You contacted me, which I really appreciate. And let everybody know a little bit about yourself and how did you connect with the five comics? Let me say that correctly.
Yes, 5BlackComics. So
5BlackComics. That's right.
Yeah, so initially, I've been in television actually for a while, but cable for a while. So when I moved up here, I started the show, And I have a show called On the Town with Tanya that's on Sundays. But I heard these guys. What was it, Carl? I think I heard them, and I started giving feedback. And then one day somebody left, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to be on?" So of course I was like, "Yeah, you think?" Because I'm a stand-up comedian, but I'm new to the game. 7 years is not a long time. These guys been doing it forever. They're pros. They've been out there for a while. So, you know, as a new comic, that's like a double blessing. Like, wait a minute, I get to talk and I get to hang out with comics. Oh, win-win. So that's kind of how I got into it. And the most important part was during George Floyd, you know, there's other things going on, but when George Floyd happened, the world kind of stopped for me. And so as a former, you know, freelance reporter, whatever, all the other stuff that I used to do, I've done lots of different gigs in the reporting world. But the most important thing was I did not want to be censored, because censorship, it's great for some things, but for most part, when you're telling your side of a story, you don't want someone saying, "No, that didn't happen. This is how it happened." You don't want someone to sugarcoat it and whitewash it, sugarcoat it, whatever. So when I saw them, I said, wait, these guys are speaking straight truth. And they're comics, who comics usually find and make anything funny. So if they were not laughing during this whole arena of the Floyd and Black being killed, whoa, I want to be a part of that. So that's how I came on, because I love the concept. I love all these guys individually, together, however you want to clump them, however you want to put them. They're fantastic people. And I thought that they have great character. Why not be associated with that? So I love being on the show because I get to speak my truth. And no one says, "Tanya, you can't say that." They may tell me to lengthen the time, but they won't stop. So there you go.
Wow. That's fantastic. Look, everybody in the chat room, thank you for coming over. I'm going to be shouting folks out in a little bit, but I want to continue to hear some of these wonderful introductions that folks are giving us today. And once again, I'm very excited again, ladies and gentlemen, to have the 5BlackComics with me. This is fantastic. And I got to give you a clap for everything that you guys are saying so far. And let me see who's next. I want to go to the next. I'll go ladies. Once again, ladies first. Give us your name completely, sister, because I didn't get a chance to kind of connect with you.
Sure. It's Pamela Doughton. And I actually did a couple of guest spots with these guys over the last year. And again, there was a situation where there was a slot open. And they said, "Hey, first of all, Carl kind of got me. I wouldn't say hoodwinked, but he definitely cast the net out there. First, it was guest spots, and then it was, well, maybe you could come on once a month. He said, well, on a couple of, anytime you have some space. He was like, why don't you just come on every week?" I kind of fell into it. My ancestry is Barbadian. I was born here, but my parents are from Barbados, and went to school with Carl. I have been mainly in the financial field for most of my life, and now I'm kind of in housing. But I perform every night in my living room. Much of my comic experience. Although my son is not, he's kind of a captured audience. But I think I bring a lot of some points of view that I certainly wanted to express, and not necessarily just from where you hear talking heads or like they were talking about on the radio, but actually expressing how it is to be an everyday person, a person who has a young Black son, and who has, of course, relatives who are going through some of these horrible things that we're seeing on television, and hoping that someone will hear us and maybe make a difference. So I'm going to leave it at that for now, and we'll continue on.
Okay. Right on. I definitely appreciate what you're saying there, and glad to have you here again. Let me go to Mr. Walker. Brother, you got the award-winning smile there, brother.
Always
award-winning smile. When I was young, my mother had a choice to get me movie star teeth, so she figured I'm not going to get good looking. I might as well have nice teeth. Thank you for having me on, Mr. Information Man. I want to say this is really bigger than we really want to acknowledge, in that we are now reaching across and we are networking together. This is what we need to do. We're going to get we're not going to necessarily get the big tent. We're going to get the people that are willing to do stuff and do work and elevate us as a people. And that's what's very important to me. My name is Desi Walker. I'm from Long Island, New York, and grew up the only Black kid in my elementary school and everything like that. So I've been dealing with racism a long time. I met Carl from being on the road. I'm one of those comedians you never heard of. You don't remember my name, but you always say that short, funny guy. He was really good. But what happened is I have 3 small kids. So I started, now it got serious. I had to, really know what I'm doing and know what I'm talking about. And so I started researching because a lot of things wasn't adding up. My main goal was to make sure that their STEAM is in line because of the things I went through in school. So I started doing research in history, learning all the real big movers. Dr. John Henrik Clarke was one of the major influences. There's a whole bunch, too many to list. But that's what motivated me. When Carl called me for the show, we got to give Carl his props. He's the one who put it together. We all been talking backstage or wherever we go. We always say, yeah, this is the issue and this is what we need to do. We finally put it out there. We've been working it. And I think what we do is we have a lot of different opinions. They could be 180 degrees opposite, but we know the goal is Black empowerment and working together. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to explore the ideas. We're here to try to elevate and come with solutions. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. Right on. Salute. And that's what it's all about. That's kind of how my channel is. It's very solution based. So I definitely appreciate what you're saying there, brother. So we got last but not least, Brother Kevin Lee, if I'm saying that correct, brother, welcome.
Bruce Lee, Kevin Lee.
Brother Lee.
What's up,
and brother, let us know a little bit about your background, a little bit about yourself, and how did you get connected with the 5BlackComics?
All right, we'll start with the 5BlackComics first. We've done a lot of shows on police brutality over the last couple of years on our show. But ironically, Carl, Yard, and I met on a road gig. We're performing, and we didn't know each other, but we're performing on the show, and we were only 2 Black guys in the room. We were the comedians, and we're actually performing at a corporate dinner for police officers.
Yeah.
I think we're in New Hampshire or Connecticut?
Connecticut. We're in Connecticut.
We're in Connecticut, up in the woods at some lodge, just like I said, up in the woods, man, in the dark. And it was a dinner for like maybe 400 police officers and their families. And Carl and I were actually the stand-up comedians that night. And that's how we met. This was before the show was actually conceived. We actually had Carl, and actually reached out to me later when he came with the idea of the show. But this was a few years before the pandemic happened, I believe, when we did the show. But I was lucky enough to be a part of one of the most iconic, I say, Black shows ever. I was on the original HBO Def Comedy Jam show.
Oh, wow.
That aired in 1991 with Bernie Mac and Chris Tucker and all those guys, and performed with Sinbad and Martin Lawrence and Wanda Sykes, you name it. I've been around the world doing this for a long time. Dick Gregory. I mean, I've met and hung out with everybody. So some of my friends, some of them aren't. But been doing this for a long time. Professional comedian for over 35 years. And one of the weirdest things about this show is the 5BlackComics show. There he is, Sinbad, the man. I hope he's doing well. He's been ill for the last couple of years, but he's a good guy. I know Sinbad very well. Good guy. Doing the research on this show and having to go out and perform, because a lot of times when we travel and we perform as professional comedians, we're mainly a lot of times in front of all white crowds, you know, and a lot of times I'm performing in the South a lot in places, you know, I would go and say Trump country, and I have to do this show, and get all this information out about racism and what's going on. And then we experience racism also, you know, every day in our normal lives. And then happen to go shake all that off and go on stage, you know, in front of a group of mainly white people and be funny. You know, it's been very challenging and interesting to do that, but we do it. Yeah, we tell our jokes on stage nightly and on the weekends, and then we do this show, which is really hard to do because we cover some really harsh topics, you know, and we deal with it, and you know, we do it well. So thanks for having us, man.
Most definitely, man.
Real quick, too much information.
Go ahead, man. Definitely.
Being in the entertainment industry, man, we're not used to people being so generous with their platforms.
I know.
Comedians.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you serious? Wait a minute. Are you serious?
So we really appreciate your generosity, man.
Yes.
No, wait a minute.
Platform and having us on. It's just something we're not used to. Like if you were a comedian, we wouldn't be on your show right now.
Wait a minute. Let's open that up a little bit, brother.
Yeah.
Let's open that up. Why?
Thanks for having us on, man.
No. Let's open that up a little bit. Let me put myself back. I got a whole bunch of different comedians that I'll be flashing across here every now and then. But let me get back on the screen here real quick. Let's unpack that a little bit. Are you saying particularly when it comes to comedy or the entertainment across the board in terms of comedy, is that how comedians kind of treat each other, or is it something that's happening amongst black comedians?
That's a good question, man. Anybody want to tackle that? That's a good question.
I'd say
both ways, but mainly I think it's more black comedians.
Wow.
And sadly it is, because I have a lot of white. You could think of somebody like Adam Sandler, for example, how many of his buddies he came up with that he put in movies and television shows, you know. And the list goes on, you know. You can just name other white comics that have helped each other throughout the years, pick their boys up that they came up in the hood with, in their hood with, and brought them along, opened doors for them. Mm-hmm. You don't see that much from this generation of comedians. You had a lot of that back in the old days. Eddie Murphy helped a lot of comedians get on, you know. Keenan Wayans and Robert Townsend then birthed a lot of comedians, you know. But you don't see a lot of comedians today opening doors for other young comedians or other talented comedians. Kevin Hart's an exception. Kevin Hart's producing comedy specials for all his boys. If you know anything about Kevin Hart, he took half the guys he came up with in Philadelphia. Most of them got jobs and touring on his tours and stuff like that.
That's facts.
So Spanky and all those guys. So yeah, he reached back and helped a lot of guys out that he came up in the game with.
I have to say that one of the people that helped me, we already mentioned him. I saw Sinbad. I worked with him at a arena one time, and he goes, "You're really funny. What are you on the comic protection program?" Because he never heard of it. But actually, he told me, if you're ever out in California, look me up. And he gave me his phone number. So I booked the next flight I could, flew out to California, and said, "I'm here." So then he took me around to all the different world and living single, different world. And I got to do warm up. I got to go and meet with all the other comedians. So, the comedians don't have a lot of power that are black. They have this one comedian rule we all know about. But I think that I got to give Sinbad his props, Martin Lawrence, certain people that just would let me, they knew me from the circuit and would let me show up and do their shows. So I really appreciate them.
Yeah, let me jump in here and say, I think comedy is kind of like any other job. Like if you're black and you're working for a company, and there's a job opening, and you have a black friend that's looking for a job that's probably qualified. You know what I mean? White people can say, "Hey, I know Bob needs a job, and Bob can come down." But as black people, we know if we bring our black friend to that job, white people are gonna look at you. You know what I mean? Right? They're gonna give you a look like, you know what I mean? Okay, we already got one. You know what I mean? We don't want too many of you guys. There's kind of black person out there watching that. I think that if you're working for a company that's obviously white owned, you feel comfortable, unless it's like a minimum wage job, like you're scrubbing floors or something. But if it's a corporate job, because I've had that experience where I was working for a corporation and there were jobs, and I actually told a friend me to come down, and I told her, and they treated her like, who are you to come here asking for this high paying job?
Mm-hmm.
They don't say it because a lot of the racism, nothing is really said. And that's what I've noticed, you know what I mean? Like,
but also,
so it's kind of, let me finish. So it's kind of the same thing in comedy. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of Black comics want to help other Black comics, but they don't have the like Kevin Hart, he has power now, and Sinbad, he had power at the time. But when you are just a comic coming up, you can't really step up and say, let me help a couple people until you have some real solid power. Whereas white comics, they can have minimal power and they can still say, hey, I got a friend that's, that's kind of funny, and Kevin can attest to this, and Desi and Tanya, Black comics, we feel we have to be 10 times funnier on any show. Anytime we do a show, we can't just be okay funny. You know what I mean? We have to be blow them out the water funny. Whereas white comics, they can be, humorous.
So what you say that there's a part of me always knew that these are realities for people that are comedians or comics. And I know I grew up knowing some brothers and sisters that went into, that lane of entertainment. And for me personally, I always felt that Black people, when we go into comedy, I always felt that Black comics are the most talented, the most funniest. And sometimes when I look at white comics, I say to myself, they wouldn't make it in Apollo Theater. Really, they're not really that funny to me. And so it kind of blows me away to hear that Black comics got to be 10 times funnier, when I find most Black comics are more funnier than anybody. And then there's a seed of racism or prejudice, racism mixed into this gumbo yaya, in which Black comedians have to deal with that aspect too.
Oh, let me tell you something else. I have experienced Black comedians being paid less for the same.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you that. Yeah. Back in the 90s, when I first started, we would, sometimes one comedian would collect all the checks, and pass them out, and
yes,
I know this show we did, the white comedians got $500 per show for the weekend, and I got $300 per show. No, I didn't know that. I found that out years later when one of the white comics, told me. He said, "Listen, man, I got to tell you, and we got $500 for that, for that show, and and he said, I know you got $300." So
wow,
that's a good friend, by the way, Carl.
Whoa,
good friend.
But years later, he told me. He didn't tell me at the time, but he told me years later. And so for me, what you can't get mad, because if you get mad now, you're the angry comic. You're the angry Black comic, and that's gonna ruin. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get any more gigs. So for me, it was, do I say something and then not get any more work as a comedian, or do I just stick it out, try to make it, and once I do make it, then I can come back and command whatever money I.
There it is. There it is.
So what do you do? What do you do?
I'm sorry, Carl. I mean to cut you off, bro.
No, go ahead, Kev.
I would tell Information Man also, because you brought up Showtime at the Apollo, and I did that show also. But let me tell you something about the Apollo.
Here we go.
Actually, get a better pass performing in front of an Apollo audience than Black comedians.
Whoa.
Now, I know you might find that crazy to hear, but it's true. A white comedian can come out on the Apollo, be mediocre, and survive. A white entertainer, period.
Yeah.
A Black audience is going to judge a Black entertainer harsher, believe it or not, on the Apollo, for example. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's I don't want to say the word self-hate. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it. I've seen, you know, I mean, white entertainers come out on Apollo and
There's a
get
lower
through, or just
expectation.
period, just shows back in the early 2000s at the Def Comedy Jam was so hot. A lot of comedy clubs started having Apollo nights or Def Jam nights, what they called them, which would be a night dedicated to urban comedy.
Right.
And every once in a while, you have a white boy go up and do comedy on that show. And he would survive, but they would boo all the black comics, but they would give that white guy a pass for some reason. So
I think
I thought about that. You brought up the Apollo and how white, you don't find white comics funny, but black audiences give passes to white entertainers all the time.
That's because we're empathetic when it needs to be, which is weird. But we tend to, oh, well, at least he had the guts to get up here.
Can I share a story real quickly? The night I performed at the Apollo.
Go right ahead, brother. I'm gonna change up the
night.
configuration in here.
Shows in one night. I was on the show with Peebo Bryson and Regina Bell, but the show before that, comedian was Joe Torre, and the musical guest for his show was Barry White, and the audience booed Barry White.
Wow!
They had to cut the show and redo the take all over again. Simba had to come out and tell them, "You're not allowed to boo Barry White."
Right.
So Barry White had to come out, be introduced all over again. And
what?
thank God the show wasn't live. It was a film show. So they had to come out and do Barry White's intro all over again.
Wow.
And Barry White came out and performed. But yeah, I mean, that's where we are, man.
Whoa.
Barry White.
Hey. Whoa.
Well, let me give my opinion on this. I think one of the things that we suffer from is a term called cultural conditioning. We are culturally how does it go? We are culturally conditioned to see white as superior and black as inferior. And as a manifestation of that cultural conditioning, we will underestimate. My man Joe Madison says this all the time. Joe Madison will underestimate, undervalue, right? And marginalize. We do it to ourselves, and white society, the largest society, does it to us. And so we have little faith in each other, and we think that the white man's ice is better than the black man's ice or colder. And so we'll give white people a pass, because I hate to say this, but it's the truth. Deep down under the deep self-conscious, psychological conscious of our mind, we've been wanting white people to love us and cuddle us and accept us since day one.
Love me.
And we want that acceptance on a psychological, self-conscious level and conscious level. Am I hitting on something right, or am I somewhere on the moon?
We actually talked about that on one of our shows. Like, we were like, why do we need to still care about the Grammys or the Oscars? We're not happy with a Soul Train Award or NAACP award. Why do we value the Oscar award and we value the Soul Train Award?
Right.
Yes.
Go off on our own and create our own stuff and be happy with it.
Right. Because
you know what I mean, why can't we just love the stuff that we created and let they can have the Grammy and whatever. We seem to want, like as you said, to be loved by white people.
And we're so mystified too on the other side that if someone white comes to an all black audience and knows any black slang or goes yo, I'm funny, check me out, we're this white guy, he's like us. And so it's a weird dynamic, but that's part of it. You nailed it right on the head.
But,
wow.
But can I add to that? There is another part, psychologically speaking, where innately as human beings, we all want approval. So just you got to keep that element too, not just because I'm black and want white approval, or I'm white and want black approval. As a human being, your thing, whether you like it or not, you are programmed to be with other people. You need a tribe, and to get approval from that tribe. So it just so happens to be we're black, and because of psychological damage, we also have that on top of the other thing. But just if you strip all that away, strip everyone's color away. As human beings, we all want to fit in and belong and be seen as, oh, Des likes me, or Kevin, we all want that. We don't know about it, but psychologically speaking, that's a thing. So
we want to be valued by the all-encompassing pool. It's not we want to be we want to be valued by our people, which of course we do. Yes. But it's even more of a check mark for us if everyone were to really take us under and say, wow, this person is great. Doesn't have to be Black, but this person has a great value to us. And I think that's why we still want the Grammy and the Emmys and the Tonys because of that.
Well, we want those because we see, it goes right back to what we've been saying, that we see intrinsic value in what white people have. So when you look at the civil rights movement, I never could understand why Black people wanted to integrate at that time. Of course, I'm not born, so, but I never understand why Black people at that time wanted to integrate what people who hated you, didn't like you, despise you. Why would you want to be able to go to their stores and their restaurants, give them your money, and then turn around and bus your kids to their schools thinking that they were going to treat your kids fair when they didn't even want you to have the right? And there's something about white society that we feel that we're not validated. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how y'all feel about Barack Obama, but most Black people did not support Barack Obama or think he had a hell's chance until he was validated by white folks in Iowa.
Tell the truth.
I think Dr. King, by the way, made a statement that he regretted
integration.
Yeah, he said he sent his people into a burning house.
Right.
So he also, and you said earlier, Mr. Information Man, about I have a dream speech, and we know on this panel, everybody sitting here know that Dr. King was so much deeper than that. I always tell people on our show, the 5BlackComics, that I was mentioning this on our show, that you can listen to some speeches on YouTube of Dr. King, close your eyes and you think you're listening to Malcolm.
Yes,
Dr. King went there many times about stuff, and they don't play those speeches because it would make white America very uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, he wouldn't have a holiday if a lot of those speeches were played other than on YouTube now. YouTube hadn't always been around,
It doesn't play into the narrative that they want.
There was no YouTube.
Right, the agenda.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I played that yesterday, the one about the economics and how he's saying how America went and did all this other stuff for other people. And hello, we're here. It's sort of like what's happening now with Biden giving money to other groups, which I don't have no hate for. I don't mind giving to Afghanistan, giving the Chinese. Go ahead, give them all the money you want. But hello, we're talking about reparations. We need to be number one.
Right.
So he was talking about that then. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I have a personal problem with it, my sister, because of the fact that that's our tax dollars and the fact that they have not done what they need to do, which is the debt that America owes. It's the debt that they want to get away from. And that's the reparations issue. Now, I'm going to send you all a video that I did because people always say, well, how much money, or America can't afford it? Well, I did a comprehensive video on my channel breaking down the economics and giving you the raw numbers. America spends more money on foreign aid and the military and many other areas that our money is going to other people, more than what it would cost to give Black people reparations. If you were to give Black people an annual check, let's say, for example, every Black person got an annual check of $125,000 annually every year from 50 to 100 years, meaning if you were to pass away, that money goes to the next generation. Now, I know there's people out there that say, oh, Black folks going to spend all the goddamn, I'm sick of Black people who say what we're going to spend. Worry about what your money's going to be. Don't worry about what our money's going to be. But that's a whole nother issue. What I want to do, because we have people in the chat room, I want to acknowledge some of the folks in the chat room that support me, like Back to the Basics, who gave me a super chat earlier.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. Back to the Basics. She says, we can afford all these stimulus checks. Yeah, stimulus checks, which is, once again, our tax dollars. And I think this sister here, the faith factor has come in. She says they can afford to give Jewish people reparations, though. That's true. They have.
Let me say something else there, Information Man. They spent so far $66 trillion on COVID.
Yep.
Who knew America had $6 trillion to spend? You know what I mean? So if you can fund, and if you have 6 trillion, we're not talking billion. So far, they have spent $6 trillion on this whole COVID thing. They can't find a dime.
Yeah.
Well,
for reparations.
They found
the timing is very interesting because right before COVID hit, we were talking about reparations. We were talking about how we're going to distribute it. And that's when we heard the pushback from not only the right, we heard from our liberal friends on the left that said, we can't afford it. We don't have that kind of money. Yeah. And then COVID hits and all of a sudden, everyone in the United States got a check.
Yep.
Well, this is the thing about Black people. America always says that it can't afford anything when it comes to what we want and what they owe us. When it comes to Black people, they can't afford us. They can't afford anything. At the same time, I did a show a week ago about a young man who was from Jamaica, who was hunted down from what I understand, he went on a hunting trip with some of his co-workers. They were all white. He ends up getting shot 9 times. None of them are injured. They say it was self-defense. The family wants to know what the hell is going on. And guess what? When they were going hunting out there, I believe it was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it isn't even hunting season. I found that out. That's not even hunting season. They're not going to give you a license to hunt at this time of the year. And another thing I found out, or I realized, because a dear brother of mine came in the chat room and said this. He said that hunting season isn't in season out there, but yet, however, Black people, particularly Black men as well as Black women, we are always on the menu to be hunted. We're always a part of hunting season.
Tell the truth.
That's a fact. I had a joke about that. Yep, that's a fact.
Let me go here. Who wants? Let me go here if you don't mind. Let me go here and just acknowledge people. I want to acknowledge some people in the chat room. They've been watching, and I just want to. We got Keeper 116 in the house. Brother Keith, who's been rocking with me heavy. We got Brooklyn in the house as well. Let me give a clap to Brooklyn. Back to the basics. We got Uniquely in the house. Thank you. I'm bad with names too, folks. Miss B is in the house. All right. And we got Brown is in. Oh, what's going on? Solo Traveler. I love her. Great program. Oh, we got Wellness. We got Wellness with Fugo Mom. I want all of y'all to subscribe to their channel. If you can, mods, definitely drop the link to their channel. It's in the description of this video. And we also have another sister here that I like, Miss Life Magical Journey. And we had Juana. Where is Juana at in the house here? I don't know if she's still here or she's gone, but she says, how do they get away with not giving us reparations? Juana, thank you for coming over, my sister. I had a chance to go on her panel. She's been nothing but respectful and on course with me 100%. I really appreciate you, sister, for your support and coming over. We got Elizabeth in the house here. And y'all know I'm bad with names, so y'all got to excuse me. But I appreciate everybody. And wait a minute now. I got to bring this sister on board here. Oh, Miss Kim. Bling Implorium. I love it. I love it. Thank you for coming over. And do me the favor, everybody. Share the video in your social media. And the thing about my channel that I noticed that kind of is a trip is that sometimes I go live, people come in large numbers, and then sometimes after the video is uploaded and it starts to process over days, all of a sudden views come running in. It's just, I don't get it. My channel is weird like that. It goes either way, but I suspect this video, because I'm looking at my other videos, is going to do very well in the long term of this video. But let's get back on track of the show. I want to thank everybody in the chat room that came over, that's here watching. And here, oh, we got Patora Afro is in the house. I can't forget her. Who else? People will be coming in and out. And, oh, Point Blank Travel. This is a brother I got to connect y'all with, too. This brother right here is very deep. Been all over the world. Man, he has a great channel. He does financing and travel and how to definitely benefit from your credit cards, the deals that you can get, how to maximize your money and live your best life. This brother is 100% on point. We did a show a few weeks ago and the video's been on fire ever since. And and I gotta say hello to Miss Natural here in the house. Thank you for coming over. And let's get back to the show and to the program and to our guest that's on with us right now. So once again, I thank you all for being here. I didn't plan on the topic going where it's gone right now in terms of comedy, but what you have offered to people and you have offered me is you've given us an education that many of us don't know. Because I know that entertainment, it's a dog eat dog world. Everybody's competing to be the top dog. I get that, people. But the fact that you're saying that sometimes within Black comedian lifestyle, that some Black comedians are within that movement, that sometimes people don't work with each other. And I think that's a big problem, because that's indicative of our bigger problems in our community, where we need to work together and be more cooperative. We like to talk about Kwanzaa, and when the holidays come around, we like to speak about what we're going to do. Well, on New Year's, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Why can't we just do what the hell we're supposed to do 365 times in a year and not wait for these special occasions? I don't know. But let's get to it here. I want to ask you all, what are your thoughts about, this is going to be based on some of the things you talked about on your channel, if you don't mind. What is your thoughts about the critical race theory in terms of the fact that it's been under attack? What are your thoughts?
Anytime anyone opposes critical race theory, I have one question for them.
Okay.
I get my pad out, I get my pen, and I get ready to write. I go, tell me what are the lies in critical race theory, and I wait. Tell me the lies.
Yes.
My pad is still empty. All right. What are the lies in critical? What's the problem? What are the lies? What are they lying about in critical race theory?
Yes, sir.
They can't respond. You know.
No, that's when they say, "But you're going to teach my kids to be
Tell
gay."
the truth.
That's what they say. Oh, you're going to teach my kids to hate themselves. Those are the two things you hear.
You know, when I applied for my citizenship to be a citizen of the United States, of course, you know, you have to study, you have to take a test, and then you have to go in and sit down for an interview after you pass the test. Then you have to go sit for an interview. And I kid you not, the person that I did the interview told me America was founded on the truth.
What that word truth?
I quote, he said, this white dude said to me, welcome to America. America was founded on the truth. And then he told me about a story about George Washington cutting down a cherry tree and said, I can't tell a lie. I cannot.
Oh my God.
He gave me that story and said, welcome to America. We were founded on the truth.
Let me ask you the honest question, Brother Yard. Did you believe any word that came out of his mouth?
At the time, I had no reason. This was back in the 90s, you know what I mean? So, you know, at the time, until I learned the actual truth.
Yeah.
You know.
Did he?
I knew, you know.
But
America was founded on the truth.
What he should have said to you is, as another reminder of what he thought was the truth telling you, or the lie that he told you, he should have also said to you, and also, by the way, George Washington used to take the teeth of his slaves that looked just like you and take their teeth and put it in his mouth because his teeth was rotten.
Tell the truth.
And that's why he never smiled.
Well,
one of the things with critical race is that when you start not only critical race, but just thinking critically, when we start thinking critically and question everything we've been taught, we'll understand the game that's been run on us from everything that, like Neely Fuller said, entertainment, education, economics, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. It's all been changed and manipulate it to benefit the dominant society. And what we have to do is not only about race, but everything. Start thinking critically. I think that's where we're coming together, and that's how we're going to resolve racism, because we had this thought that morality back in Martin Luther King time, he thought if they just knew the morality that they're violating, they'll do right and we'll all be equal. And then we thought it was they just didn't know. A lot of white people say, oh, I didn't know that that's racist, but they know, they just don't want to admit that they know. And now we're seeing that they're running game on us 24/7 in everything that we do. So we have to look critically at everything we do. And what the fear is from the dominant society is once we start unraveling, because if you study history, you'll start seeing all the lies that were told and how it was told so that they could live this paradise that they set up for them and exclude us. We can unravel it and we can reverse it, and we can make sure that we have a system of justice. No one is mistreated. That's what we're working towards. They don't really want that. They want to keep themselves at the top.
Okay, Sister Dotton, I want to hear your perspective.
Sure. Well, first of all, I hate the term critical race theory.
Okay.
I do not understand why we can't come up with something just like how about corrective history, or just history, the true history? Because first of all, it's not a theory, it's a fact.
It's a fact.
The things that we need to incorporate in the history books now, and the things that they need to take out, the way they need to doctor it up, is to put in the facts and take out all of the misinformation that has been put in there. Because we have been taught a bunch of crap, but it's also been taught to a lot of white people. And the only thing is, because it benefited them and it made them feel good, that's why they don't want to take it out. You know, I think it's really important to understand that there were things that happened to us. I think when you start creating these subtitles, what ends up happening is it makes these other people very afraid, because it sounds different and it sounds as though you're taking away what they hold true. But I think if you really want to have an honest report, and I don't think that anything in America is going to be solved until we teach our children the facts of life, the facts of what happened to Black people, to Indian, to Native Americans. When we really start to open up and deal with that honestly, and the powers that be address it in an honest and forthright manner. Other than that, it's never going to happen, because you're going to have the same Confederates flying their flags and wanting to keep up Robert E. Lee and all of those people, and keeping their bases named for all of these losers of the war. You know,
right.
So it's a fantasy world that they have created, and they don't want to tear down Disney World.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
That's a good way to put it.
Wow, that's a good way to put it. That's on point. I got to give you a clap on that. That's definitely on point. Definitely 100% on point. Because I want to go over these few areas. Let's get to this. This is more recent in the news. Emmett Till and Mammy Till, his mother, received the Golden Medal, Congressional Golden Medal, rewarded by the Senate. It's a bill that they passed to give them this honor. And one of the things that they have been able to realize, or it appears, is that, and this is something that I hate to say, but Black people, and I think it's cultural conditioning, some of us like symbolism. We get very excited about symbolism. They always throw us the doggy bone of symbolism rather than what it is that we really want or desire. So when it came to the reparations issue, they decided to turn around and say,
it was Juneteenth.
We're going to give Juneteenth to you. When Joe Biden went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he met with Miss Fletcher, he gave this speech. The woman has been around. She lived through that situation, that massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you didn't hear anything about reparations for the living descendants and survivors such as herself. And they often tell Black people, well, who we're going to pay it to? The other groups like the Japanese and Jewish people, they got their reparations because they could tie it back to a living relative or what have you. Well, here you have Black people who are living relatives of those who got massacred over another lie, just like the Emmett Till situation, in which Emmett Till was mutilated, killed, over I'm going to keep it real, over another white woman's lie who took these words back. And she's been living her best life, Carolyn Bryant. And they want to give us a golden medal. That's not what the family needs. The family needs justice. Emmett Till's spirit needs justice. But now they throw us trinkets every time. And sometimes some of us take the damn bait. What are your thoughts about this whole situation around that medal, the Emmett Till situation, and that woman is still alive, has been able to raise a family while Emmett Till has never had a family? And this government, this all happened after the DOJ closed the case on this situation. And then they want to come conveniently with this congressional medal of gold or whatever the hell we want to call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I can say I'm livid over the whole situation because, like you said, he can't get his life back. It was a whole life. He was very young when it happened. And the fact that she was still living, got to just like, are we going to put her in jail? Like, what are we going to do? I hope that the family at least got to sue for damages, or maybe the statute of limitations. But they got nothing. I would be insulted if they came to me with some award or day or plaque. I wouldn't care about none of that. And like you said, we're just
tell the truth.
Too easy.
Yeah, those little trinket things is like, when they came to America and gave, the natives, little beads and bought in Manhattan from them for a handful of beads. I think it's ridiculous that they would think that is in any way, the most that they could do to make things right. That woman, when she came forward and told the truth, her butt should have been in jail the very next day.
Exactly.
And they darn sure would have done it to us.
Yep. Cosby.
And that's when it becomes a real, it really gets under your skin because you realize the hypocrisy and how much they really think of us and our power, the power that we don't use enough. Because I think if we were to really take a stand in unity to certain issues, we would get a little bit more respect and a little bit more of what we really want out of
the truth.
But it just, it pacifies the situation for a moment, and then when we stir it back up again, they find something else to come back with. I never heard of a whole outcry about we wanted Juneteenth as a national holiday. Right. I didn't even know it was a thing. I mean, as far as, wanting it to be nationally recognized, I'd always known what Juneteenth was about. But, for them to come forward and it was like, hey, look what we're doing for you. It's like,
and the wrong
thing. Okay, that's nice, but let's keep on point. We still have to put them to task and keep that pressure on them to give us what we
tell the truth.
What I always say, and I'm going to ask this to Information Man and your audience watching and anyone watching the show, what else do Black people need to see? How long have this been going on? What else do we need to see? I think I heard Malcolm S say this, but and I truly believe this. We really need to just separate ourselves. Me personally, I think we have enough to separate ourselves and create our own world. You know what I mean? I think right now in 2022, Black people have enough where we can say, you know what? We have enough of your shit, white people. We're going to move. We're just going to create our own stuff. Everybody does it, right? You go to New York, there's Chinatown, there's Little Italy. There's streets where there's only like Indians. Everybody creates their own little world and they live in it, right? And it seems like we have to go to them to buy it. Why can't we create our own world? It doesn't have to be about hate. We don't have to hate anyone. It's pretty obvious they don't want us in their world, their society. Why can't we just create our own world? I would love
to down on the enclaves. The problem is that it's the economic power that we don't collaborate on, because we have Bed-Stuy. We used to have Bed-Stuy. We used to have Harlem until they've started kind of filtering in there. But we have it. The problem is that we still have the Korean beauty supply store and the bodega, and we have the bodegas and the majority of businesses that are in our neighborhoods we do not own. That's the key, and if we don't take on that responsibility and really promote our own, then it's never going to happen, because the black dollar does not stay in our neighborhood.
Day after day after day, America has shown us they don't care. Why don't we just you don't just say? I know it's a radical thought, but that to me that seems like the only logical. Of course, on our show we know there's not all white people think the same, but it's enough where we just got to do something.
Well, just to tie in both thoughts, one thing we got to consider is the American people, their responsibility in this whole process. When we look at what happened after World War II, the United States government gave every returning GI low income, low cost loan for a house.
Tell the truth.
Businesses that they got loans to start businesses, and they got free education. We encouraged immigration from overseas to come here. When they came here, they had the great land rush of Oklahoma. They gave away free land to immigrants and denied black people land, the 40 acres and a mule that we were promised, and any other thing. So although we might not have the businesses now, the government has a responsibility to restore us to where we should be. We built the wealth of this country. We made this country rich, and we deserve a help or it's not even help. It's what we're due, so that we cannot be the economic kicking boys of the United States.
Right. Let me say, if I can, peace and respect to Sister TC, HBCU Queen TV. I've had her on my panel before. This sister is excellent. We've got Glorion Murray's in the house. Thank you for being here. Sister Pullard is in the house here. Thank you for being here, everybody. Old Reliable, who's been following my channel for a very long time. Ahmad in the chat room. Everybody that's listening out there, thank you. Share the video on your social media as well. This is where I wanted to, man, this issue is, let me just bring this up to your attention. You may or may not be aware of this. When I look at, and I was just thinking about this today, when I look at Chinatown, you have a Chinatown in all the major cities, San Francisco, New York, places of that nature, even in Oakland, California, where I lived at for about a decade. And what I notice about those kind of communities is that those are actually business centers, meaning they have nothing but businesses where people of their culture go in and they do cooperative economics with each other, right? They got their own banks there. And then there's a percentage of their people that actually live in the community, in the markets. And I'm saying to myself, they call it Chinatown, and nobody is offended by that, even the Chinese, because they're making money. No one is saying, hey, that's discriminative, right? Thank you, Sister Juana, for the super chat too, brother. Sister, I'm gonna read what you had to say there. Thank you again.
Thank you for
the
super chat.
But when black people say we want a cooperative business district for ourselves, everybody's got a problem with that. Now, remember Dr. Claude Anderson? He went to Detroit many years ago, and he said he wanted to create a black town, just like you got a Koreatown in Los Angeles, or you got this town. Hell, in San Francisco, where I lived at for many years, you got Russian communities that's dedicated to the Russians and Italians, just like in New York. And I've been in these communities, and when we want something, nobody gives a damn. Nobody wants us to have it. He went to Detroit, and he said he had problems with black folks in Detroit within the political game there, who drove him out from creating this black business district, which we would call Black Town. And then let me bring up something else to you. When you go to San Francisco, anybody that's been in San Francisco, you have Chinatown. A lot of black people in San Francisco live in a place called Fillmore, where I lived for many years. And you got Hunters Point, Betrayal Hill. Well, guess what? I found out through a black tour where they toured the city to show you where black people lived and what they used to own. Actually, Chinatown was a black community before the Chinese got there in San Francisco. It was our community. Somehow they moved us out as they made us go to war. The Chinese men came into the community. They couldn't bring their women, so the men came first. And they colonized them to that particular part of the city in a community that we were in first. Just like the Japanese were in the Fillmore area of San Francisco, for those of you who are familiar. And then they eventually moved black people. So they have played this shuffle card game for years. I contend that we don't have this is because powers that be don't want us to have it. And I'm going to be honest, completely honest. Black people, so for some reason, when it comes to us, we don't mix with money when it comes to dealing with each other. Unfortunately, those of us who don't have proper character to work with each other honestly, we have poor character with each other when it comes to money. It's always about, well, what is he doing with the money? Oh, he gonna get over on me. We don't trust each other.
That's happening to Dr. Johnson right now, Omar Johnson.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah, he collected for a museum, and now all of a sudden, well, not the museum. I'm talking about Tariq is trying to get a museum. Umar Johnson, who I've been following his case.
Okay.
Damn it, y'all about to make me angry now. I've been following his case along with many people on YouTube, like Leonard Honors. Umar Johnson hasn't filed with the IRS. You can't get a tax return because he hasn't been reporting the money. So they took away the nonprofit status. He doesn't tell anybody about that. Umar Johnson chose Delaware, which is ranked, I believe, 6th as the worst in terms of crime. Oh, it's a Browning community where there's environmental hazards. Okay, he hasn't been reporting. And he said, oh, HVAC is coming. Where's the HVAC? Oh, I could go in at Umar Johnson for a day and a day. I'm going to stop right there.
Okay. Thank you for the update. Thank you for the update. I was just saying how we don't, but you do have to have accountability no matter who you are or what you're doing. So that's fair. That's fair.
My God.
But we will give our money to the preacher.
The black church now.
We'll give our money to the pimp in the pulpit in a second.
All right now.
Okay, now, you know what, brother? You just stepped us into another topic that I wanted to ask you a question about. The black church. Is the black church failing us, or is the black church doing right by us? And let me, before you ask that question, let me just say, Juana gave me a $19.99 super chat, and I appreciate that, sister. And she says this: we need economic independence, and we must mobilize, take over our communities. It is too much individualism. Great show. I have to support this conversation. Share the video. Thank you, my sister. With that said, brother Lee, you opened up the door that I wanted to go into. This black church phenomena, has it been the worst thing for black folks or a good thing?
And it was a good thing back when you had preachers like Dr. King, because Dr. King was a preacher who got his hands dirty. Dr. King went out and got arrested, went out and had rocks thrown at him and beaten and jailed and unfortunately assassinated. And I guess nobody wants to be killed, but I don't think none of the preachers today, the ones who drive the Benzes and lives in the mansions, are out marching in the streets. Anybody see any other famous TV preachers out marching in the streets?
Hell to the no.
I don't call no names. I'm just asking.
No.
During the Black Lives Matter movement of summer of 2020, and Breonna Taylor, and the George Floyd hosted, I didn't see any famous black preachers, the ones that we see on TV, the ones who have the millions of dollars and the mansions and the Rolls Royces and all that stuff. I didn't see none of these cats out marching in the streets. I didn't see the TV cameras.
So you telling me TJ Jakes wasn't nowhere to be found? Cleflo Dollar, who sleeps on money?
Man. I might need TJ to do my movie one day.
Oh, okay. Let me. Okay, well, look. I just got to be honest though. Let's just say this.
We might need him to endorse the 5 Black.
Okay, let me just say this. Let me just say this. None of the high-profile preachers.
Right, there's been no high-profile ministers or preachers or none of these guys that out getting dirty, as they say. Man, there's the days of Martin Luther King Jr. and John Lewis. Those guys, man, and their partners. Those days are over, and I don't think people want to get uncomfortable anymore,
Nope.
We had some celebrities. Jamie Foxx was out there, and we had some celebrities out there marching for George Floyd. But you didn't see, back in the day, you had Sidney Poitier and
Harry Belafonte
and all those guys, man. I was mentioning him because he just passed away. But Sidney Poitier, and Halle Berry Fonte and Aretha Franklin and all those people. They were on the front lines, either out
or
there,
Dick Gregory,
or Dick Gregory. They were out there, or financially they were out there, at least putting money out to Dr. King, so he can continue to do what he had to do.
Tell the truth.
Well, go ahead,
Tanya.
I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead, sister.
You said, here's the thing. So my foster mother, who raised me, she was good friends with Dr. King. She was a civil rights leader as well. In fact, she lost some of her vision from a Molotov cocktail being thrown in one of the sit-ins in Alabama. Long story short, the bottom line is, Kevin, you hit on it. Nobody, how do they say, everybody want to go to heaven, nobody want to die. So everybody is out here in the streets making millions of dollars on their congregations. But the truth is, when it comes down to it, and this is my personal thought, is a lot of people are being paid to just shut up. Give us the crowd for votes. So when we have elections, we need your black church to come and vote for us. But that's all. We can only give you a little couple of scraps here and there. That's all we can do for you. That's really what's going on. I think everybody's been bought and paid for and stamped, and boom. So you're not going to get somebody to come to, so-and-so shooting or the fire in the Bronx, even the fire in the Bronx. I'm like, where are all these ministers? Like, why weren't they, Creflo and all them out here in the streets? Like, oh, we have stuff for the community. We have, where are they? They're not coming, because guess what? While they love the accolades, they love the money, the fancy cars, the fancy house, the jets. That's it. They're paid for. They're silenced. They're not trying to really integrate black folk. You know what I'm saying? They're not really trying to do that, because, and this by actions.
One of our big scholars, Dr. COMMENT, he put it so eloquently. He said that when we were drowning in racism, and it was like a river, raging river, we had a lifeboat that was religion, and religion saved us and got us to the shore safely. Unfortunately for us now, we are still walking on land with that lifeboat with us. We have to reimagine, we have to recapture our religion, how we made religion and how we used it to help all of mankind. And we can't let our story be co-opted like it has been. If you start researching and finding out, you'll find that a lot of the religions are all just poor copies of the original African religion and belief systems. Once we understand that, we can retake it back, make it so that we get power from it, because right now our religion is good for the service. You feel good, you're singing through songs, you might even get a workout shouting, and then you're right back to the regular racism that you're dealing with every day.
It's facts.
Yeah. Wow, that is facts. Wow. Man, how much time, I need to know, because I want to be respectful of your time today. How much time do you have to give me? Because I had a few more questions. I'm going to probably have to bring you back for more topics, because man, there's so much more I wanted to unpack today. This is most important. The Voters' Right Bill. Seeing that this is Dr. King Day, MLK Day, and under the Joe Biden administration, and before, there was an attack on voters' rights, and it seems to be continuing. And here we are, supposed to be celebrating a great man in Dr. Martin Luther King, who was about black people and people having the right to vote. And yet they can't even get this thing passed. What is your thoughts about this situation?
all
Anybody want to touch on it? Go right ahead, Sister Cooper.
It's well, let's start with this. I cannot remember the lady's name, but they're trying to gather together to get Marjorie Taylor Greene, whatever her name is. I cannot remember the lady's name to save my life. But they're gathering together a bunch of I call them antebellum ladies. That's what I call them. They're gathering together to bring Trump back and get Trump back. And it's very symbolic to me. This whole thing reminds me of in the 1800s. It's like insanity is doing the same thing over and again, expecting different results. We are back at square one when these women are getting together. So we're going to put Trump back in office. We'll do whatever we have to do. People are putting millions of dollars into this campaign, and don't be shocked if he wins. Don't not be shocked. I'm not going to be shocked at all, quite frankly. I think it's crazy, but I'm not going to be shocked because this is indicative of American. And as we know, no offense to my white women that I love, but white women back in slavery, they always co-sign, and they were like, yeah, you can beat her. Yeah, you can rape her. Yeah, you can. I mean, they were always co-signing on stuff and actually agitating stuff and keeping stuff going longer. They probably could have stopped slavery in the bedroom a long time ago, but they didn't. So right now, as you see them, all these women gathering together, I mean, women of all people gathering together to get Trump back in office. I was like, he's a pea grabber. What are you doing? Like, did you remember what he said about women? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they
right.
Yeah.
Well, remember when civil rights start to move forward for Black people, it was the daughters of the Confederacy. Yes. Once again, women, white women, who were the ones who erected those monuments that everybody's fighting over in this country. Now, this is the challenge I have to ask to Black women out there. On the front lines, Black young males are attacked in the school system primarily by the white female school teacher, because most of the teachers tend to be, at least when Black people weren't teaching our own and having our own schools, and we decided to integrate into the burning fire that Dr. King spoke of, we put our kids in my opinion, in harm's way to be taught by white teachers who were the ones giving Black boys in particular, what? He's hyperactive. Yes, he's out of control. He's labeled as an animal. And oftentimes we'll hear, especially on YouTube, what have Black men done to fight against white supremacy? I would say to our sisters out there, what are you doing to combat the racism that is coming from white women who have always been on the front lines of the movement for white supremacy, because they are the main ones that have attacked Black male children and labeled them? So this is the reason why on YouTube you will have channels that talk about divesting. Oh, Black women divest from Black men divest from Black women. All this sort of divide and conquer bullshit.
Right.
That leads us to nothing. When we should both be fighting on both fronts. And I know for a fact that Black women are under attack, because anytime, this is just my soapbox right now, folks, anytime 1.6 million people were concerned about Gabby, the young white lady, that young white girl who went missing. And I'm not saying that you should not be concerned about anybody who goes missing, right? But more people were concerned about her, which they should be, right, because, it's a missing child. But nobody was concerned about the missing Black girls and Black women that have gone missing. I did a video about this. No one talks about when we are missing and we are going missing left over foot.
Right. Yes. We did a whole show on that subject.
DC alone, 1,000 girls.
We did a whole show on that. It's really upsetting, and we did a whole show on that. Can I just say back to the voting rights real quick?
Yes, I know I got a little off subject there, but it just said that the spirit brought me there, brother.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. Hey, Joe Madison, the Black Eagle, who has his own national radio show.
He's having a hunger strike.
Yes. He's on a hunger strike right now. He's on day 71 of a hunger strike.
Yes.
For voting rights. I listen to Joe Madison every morning.
I do too.
He's dropped a lot of pounds and lost a lot of weight, I should say. And he's not in this hunger strike. He said a lot of people have sacrificed more than food for our voting rights, and he's doing this for his grandchildren, so they won't grow up in a world, where they can't vote. So our voting rights is definitely under attack. We're I don't think we realize what January 6th was really about and what it meant.
Let's break it. Give it to us.
It was really deep. It's starting to come out now. This just wasn't a random thing. This was a planned thing.
Absolutely.
And we're outnumbered. We're outgunned. And these people are serious about taking their country back, as they always say, because Barack Obama, the first African-American president, or first Black president, he set a fire under these people,
Yes.
And, the Tea Party,
tell the truth,
Oath Keepers, all that stuff was invented or came to tuition under President Barack Obama, and because of him. So it hasn't stopped. And after Barack left office, after 8 years, him and his family left the White House, we got Trump as a rebuttal.
Yeah.
And
No,
that was
you're right.
Saying, they took the most unclassless, the classless scumbag of the earth and put in the office that Barack Obama just left.
Right.
And I'm not saying that President Obama was the most perfect president, because he wasn't. He make mistakes like all presidents, and but they replaced him with that guy, and that was for us. That was for us.
Right.
Trump was put there to let us know how they feel about Barack Obama and how they feel about us. And January 6th was the first attempt, and there will be more attempts, I'm sure.
Well, they're empowered, right? Because, what's the worst that's happened? They really don't. They really have not been called to task on it. If it had been a Black Lives Matters rally and something like that happened, trust me, they would have arrested at least 200 people.
They would have shot
the same day. Well, that's true too. That's true too.
Not arrested.
But the whole voting rights thing. This is something that they have been. It didn't start with Trump. This is, I think, from the day that we got our right to vote, there has been a counter campaign to take it away from us. And that's why we go through this every couple of years, and we have to constantly get the I think it's an amendment that they have to ratify every couple of years to allow us to vote. It's
ridiculous.
That's insanity.
Ridiculous.
And
it should be permanent.
Yeah.
Of course, absolutely. And the fact that the Republicans have been scheming and plotting for decades. I remember in the late 80s and early 90s when I was starting to get my footing on the the indignation, the craziness that goes on with our people, and how they were doing the gerrymandering from then. I remember living in Brooklyn, and they had chopped up Brooklyn so that the Hispanic representatives didn't have their rights either, so that they could, they wheel and deal, and they do it in a very subtle way. And the fact that we no longer have civics classes in school is definitely indicative of is part of their greater plan, because if we do not understand how our government functions, we don't understand, we will never be able to counterbalance what they're doing and realize what they're doing on the local level, because that's where it all starts. So this has been a greater plan. I would think it's at least 30 or 40 years in the making, and they're carrying through with it. And at the same time, when you talk about Democrat and Republican, I try not to get too caught up in the names of these parties and more about what their intent is. And when I find that the Republican Party, as it were, they have decided that they are going where the head moves, so does the rest of the body. And nobody counterbalances that. And with Democrats, it's always, this is supposed to be a democratic society. And, everyone's supposed to have their right to have a certain vote, even if it doesn't go along with our plan. And that's why we lose. That is why things fall apart. And honestly, sometimes I even wonder if it isn't part of that greater plan to keep us where they want us to be, because they are not taking the stance. Get rid of the damn filibuster. We have that right. What's his name? Mitch McConnell has been on a mission. He has not wavered, and none of them waver, and none of them fall apart. And we do not follow in line in that. And we have the power now. Let's get this thing done and over with, and then there's no more discussion about it.
Well, we know that the filibuster is an old playover of the past. It was created to stop black people from getting civil rights in the first place. You know, you got the Dixiecrats and the Republican Klan and the Democrats. And both these parties are the same. They're just two different birds of different wings. This is how I say it. This is how I look at them. The Republicans will screw you without Vaseline. They'll tell you straight up, we don't like you. Yes. Where the Democrats screw you with Vaseline. They make it feel good. They give you symbolism. They smile at you while they're screwing you, right? But let me also say this, because people, I know my sister Faith Factor says that Donald Trump gave black people some tangibles. Well, let me tell you what he did with those tangibles. Remember when all those black HBCU presidents met with him in the Oval Office and they were smiling and he had that document up there? And then you had a bunch of black folks on social media, particularly black folks that were of conservative nature, saying, well, he gave more money to black schools than Obama. He's trying to help the black schools. Well, guess what? Most of the black students in the HBCUs begged these college presidents not to meet with him. Guess what? Donald Trump reneged on all of it. Those historical black colleges didn't get any of that money that he promised them. Guess why? Because the HBCU presidents are angry. They're through with Donald Trump. They say he used us as a photo op, a fool, and a tool.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
And that's
I
part
should
of
have known that.
Tell
and
the truth.
Anyone who's from New York and who knew about Donald Trump and his shenanigans,
Thank you.
would have told them.
Yeah.
Because he don't pay nobody. Yeah. He does not live up. He is not a man of integrity. He does not live up to his word. It's like diarrhea of the mouth.
Yep.
He will throw anything out there.
Even his fans.
Somebody has to clean it up.
Yeah, you see where his assistant was saying the girl who quit, and they were saying she was disgruntled, and she even said he doesn't like the people that have voted for him. He doesn't look at. He looks at another. So that's just, I mean, with
all that being said, everything we're talking about, everything that's being said, I always come back. What else do black people need to see? I mean, I say to these guys all the time, no matter where you go in life, if you're a CEO, if you're bagging groceries, if you're a plumber, if you're black, you're dealing with a lot of bullshit in life. Knowing all of that, there's not a black person other than Candace Owens, I guess. There's not a black person in America that doesn't know that we're all dealing. Why can't we all just look at that and say, why don't we just get together? And I know this has been said many, many times about black people get together, but I don't for the life of me understand why we can't look at the way we're all treated, all of us, no matter if you're a celebrity, no matter, as long as you're black, you're treated a certain way in America.
Yes.
Why can't we all just look at that and say, you know what? Screw it. Let's all just get together and just start making our own way and doing things for ourselves. And I want to get into this a little too. Like, we give our money to these white designers like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all that. You know what I mean? And there are black designers out there if we just look for them.
Yes.
Of course, they don't get the commercial marketing like Gucci and all that, Louis Vuitton and the other guy, Michael Kors, and all those people get, but we are making these people billionaires.
Yep,
billionaires.
Yes.
Why don't we just look at how we're all treated and make a conscious decision to just help one another? I don't understand that. I mean, we see it every day. Here we are talking about voting rights, right? And this conversation has been going on since the 50s, the 60s. Right, all the way back, and we're still fighting this fight.
Yeah,
why we can't? Why every single black person just can't say, "Hey, let's just pull ourselves together and start helping each other."
Well, one of the things we can do, step one, when it comes to voting specifically, Carl, where we can all pull together, is we have to be all in line in that. Voting is a transactional process. The politicians promise you something, and you vote for them and they deliver what they promise. Us, we have to make sure that we hold these politicians accountable for what we want, our tangibles, just like every other group. And we have to stay united. This last election was a little bit different, but it's really the same thing over and over again. They raised this really scary person. I mean, before Trump, it was Mitt Romney, who's the most tame person you can name. And we had the Bushes, and we had, Ronald Reagan. We have all these boogeymen that scare us into voting against the Republicans more than we vote for the Democrats. What we have to do with both parties is we have to do like Ice Cube said. We have an agenda. We have a plan of what we want to see. Who is going to address our plan? And it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, and whoever we as a group agree to follow, we're swinging our vote, because no election has been decided without the black vote. If you think about it, you got the white vote, they split, Democrat, Republicans. We have the swing because we vote in a block. We have to exercise that right. We have to do that together. Yes. Now, Carl, what you said, just one more point I got to go over. You're exactly right when it comes to designer clothes and stuff. When you think about it, you could drive a foreign import car and you'll be pulled over by the police, and whatever happens to you. You could have a $1 million house and you can be invaded by the police like Skip Gates, a presidential friend, and the police pull you out in handcuffs. All of this is telling us what they think of us and how they want to treat us. We have to be united. We have to be on code and work with each other so that we can get out of this condition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm with Brother Yard and all of you. We have to have solutions to these problems. But this is the question. I work in psychology as a therapist, and we know that in psychology, something they call being insane is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. Black people have been voting for the Democratic Party from the time that the Dixiecrats left the Democratic Party and ran to the Republican Party and what have you. We jumped on board because a lot of black people culturally and historically were conservatives. When I say conservative, I'm not necessarily saying politically conservative, but conservative in general. Right. And there were black people that were Republicans. But as the Dixiecrats jumped from the Democratic Party over to the Republican Party, and somehow we fell in love with the Democratic Party, black people in our relationship with the Democrats is like a bad relationship where you get smacked around and then the man says, "I'm sorry, baby. Here goes some flowers. Will you forgive me? Let's make up, kiss and make up." That's what the Democrats do. They promise us a lot, just like someone who promised you something in a relationship and they don't deliver. Right. And we're battered. We have that syndrome, just like a woman or a man or someone who's been abused in a relationship, where we have what's that syndrome where you identify with your abuser?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm. Black people have Stockholm syndrome with the Democratic Party. They promised us stuff. They got up there and sung Negro spirituals when Biden got elected in South Carolina to be the representative. Black people got excited, especially black women, when they gave you Kamala Harris. And I'm telling black women right now, don't get excited over having a black woman as your vice president. The question is, what is she going to do for you as black women who rallied around Biden to get her in that seat? She has to come up with a plan that benefits black women, since they pushed this. Black women voted 93% for Biden, and black men 83%, I believe. Other ethnic groups, which is why I have a problem with this people of color thing, because other ethnic groups don't vote like we do. Right. They split their votes across the board. So why is it that we continue to vote for the Democratic Party doing something that's becoming insane if we're getting the same results every time we vote for them? They promise us everything and we get nothing. They treat us like Charlie Brown on Halloween when he got nothing but rocks in his bag.
Because I don't believe that we get nothing.
Information.
No, I'm willing to listen. I'm listening to opposing ideas. Go ahead.
Well, let's put it. Let me be blunt. Let me be blunt about it then. What has Mike Pence done for Black people?
Nothing.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll leave it
No,
at
but
that.
what I'm saying is that the Democratic Party pushes a lot of expectations on Black people. They tell us what they know we like. So they give us a Black woman as vice president. They say racial justice. They say all the right words, right?
Right.
And then when they get in office and we say as Black people, okay, we're waiting to see what the Black stuff's going to be. And Joe Biden turns around and they help the Asian community with the bill to protect them from assaults on them. And the fact that they were being blamed for COVID. And then we sit back and we say, okay, all right, Joe Biden, you helped the Chinese or you helped the Asian community out. I don't want to be disrespectful. We sit back and watch what they're doing for people from Afghanistan, flying them over here.
Jobs, everything.
So that they can get government money, open up a business and look at us like we ain't nothing because they do it already in some of these stores. You know what stores I'm talking about when you walk in and they look at you like you done stole something, but you've been born here. So then Black people, we sit back and we say, okay, Biden did this for that group. Okay, we're waiting for the Black stuff, right? We're going to get Black stuff. And then all of a sudden, we get excuses. Well, we can't pass it. Well, we're waiting. Well, I'm going to go down to Atlanta and talk to you about Strom Thurmond, who he was all booed up with back in the day when he cut that crime bill that put more Black men in prison than a little bit. Oh, I'm telling you.
And even worse, just to add on to it, not only that, but they'll give out the money for COVID, and they'll say, well, Black people, there's your reparations.
Right.
Oh, please.
Exactly. It's like
that makes us even now.
Right.
Well, I don't want to wake up with a horse's head in my bed, but I think before we start blaming Biden for the crime bill,
okay,
blame Ronald Reagan for the crack epidemic.
Yes, and
so
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton was involved with that crime bill too.
Bill Clinton and Biden wouldn't have to make a crime bill.
And Bush.
It wasn't for the Republican Party, the Reagan and the Reagan administration somehow making crack available in the Black community.
That's facts.
So there would have never been a crime bill. The truth is, most Black people back in those days supported the crime bill.
Yes,
that is true. That's not lie about that. That is true.
We're all affected by crack. I don't think anybody that I know in my family has definitely been affected by crack epidemic. So, and I think most African American families know somebody, or Black families in America know somebody that had a crack habit or has passed because of it, or went to prison because of it. I know both. People in prison because of it, and I know people that I love that has passed because of it. So, this goes back to, something had to be done. I don't think it was right, but, I don't have a lot of sympathy for criminals. So I don't care if you're Black or white, if you're selling crack.
If we go back, we got to go back really to Nixon. Nixon is really kind of where the whole
when Nixon did the heroin.
But
a lot of the heroin came in under Nixon, which affected the Black community, and then
also
crack came in under. There's some rumors that went around with Eazy-E, but I don't want to get into that right now on the show because that's too deep. But
hey, I do deep over here now, brother. Now come on now, I get into deep content.
So you already know what I'm talking about. You from the West Coast?
Yeah, I'm from the West Coast. I know a lot about what's. No, we gonna have to. We gonna have to do another show, boy.
But can I
go ahead, sister?
It's really
sister
not.
Tanya.
Thank you. It's really not about Democrat or Republican. What it's really about is African Americans need to hold whoever it is accountable. So that's really that's the takeaway. Not even Republican or Democrat. It's when we see how many millions of us push someone through, we need to follow through and see, okay, what's being done. And if it's not done, then when the next round, we need to all mobilize. Maybe one of you techies out there can make an app for us. You know what I'm saying? When you got us all, you can just ping us and we be like, okay, this is who we're going for. You know what I'm saying? So we can hold them accountable so that the next round, we can now say, oh, we changed our minds too. We're not going for you. because that's what it's really about. That's where the power is at. If we're together, if we're not together, nothing matters.
I think the problem is that we have a two-party system, and it's always going to be the lesser of two evils. And, you can say, okay, well, let's hold them accountable and say we're not going to vote for them the next time around. But then, okay, so that means another Trump-like person comes in, and then what does that lead to? What other fates does that lead us to? So it's a really touch and go thing. I think what we really need to really focus on is what actually, Tanya, you were mentioning, is the accountability and how we come together. We are not monoliths. We do not all think the same as Black people. But what we do know is that until we have a mass body of people saying enough is enough, and we are not going to put our dollars behind you, that's where it counts. And it's about the corporate boardrooms.
Right.
The president doesn't do anything that his main supporters are going to be totally against. And those are the corporations who are writing the big checks. And therefore, if we stop supporting those corporations in their bids, to do their bidding, it'll trickle up.
Yes.
Can I just read this real quick before you, this is from Awana. She said, strategized planning is missing. Lots of us know the problems, but but what are the solutions? Who do we vote for? Do we not vote at all? Let's spend money and promote Black brands. I totally agree with what the sister said. Wana is speaking truth. Brother Lee, you were about to say something. I didn't mean to cut into what you were going to say.
No, it's all good. I'm glad you read that. People want to know the differences between a Biden and a Trump. I hear that a lot, the Democrats and the Republicans. So the KKK, they still exist. They still hate Black people.
That's right.
They didn't endorse Joe Biden. They endorsed President Trump. The Oath Keepers is a racist organization. They endorsed President Trump. The Proud Boys voted for President Trump. All those fools we saw in Virginia marching with tiki torches voted for Trump. All those fools we saw on January 6th voted for Trump. They didn't vote for Biden. So that's the difference. Well, we want to believe it or not, that's the difference. Is Trump is a motivational speaker for white supremacy.
Yeah, but what difference for some people? This is what I'm getting feedback from. What difference does it make if I'm putting if then some people want Biden, they love Biden, that's good for them. I don't like either one, quite frankly. I wouldn't vote for either one. If it came down to voting right now, I don't know what I would do. But there's some people that gave me feedback and said, well, suppose you say lesser of two evils, but if you're voting Biden, suppose I'm one of the people that don't like all these plans he's implementing to make this like Russia, where I don't have any rights anymore. I have to do a vaccine if I don't want to, those type of things. Suppose he's saying things like, certain laws he's passing that I'm like, I'm not really happy with. So what difference does it make if I pick Trump or him? That's the question I keep getting.
There's a difference. There's a big difference. There's a big difference. I mean, there's a major difference. One strictly stands for white power. Trump even retweeted a video of a guy on the golf course saying white power.
It's already white power.
I don't care if George Bush was a racist or Reagan was a racist or Nixon was a racist or whatever. None of them were that bold to publicly bring racism to make it mainstream like Trump has.
But that's
Trump has made racism mainstream all over again.
But
we're basically back in 1968 because of this guy.
Yes, but that's the problem. Just follow me. I may not be agreements, but just follow me. At least, in my opinion, I'd rather the KKK stand in front of my face and say, I hate you, N-word, than to be with someone over this side to say, oh, yes, Tanya, yes, and then put the dagger in my back. And that's what's happening, in my opinion, with the Democrats and everybody that's in the Senate. Ain't nobody for us. Nobody. I don't care who, they black, they white, it don't matter. Then nobody's for us. And that is where my problem is. I'd rather you be a right out racist, because I know what I'm dealing with if you tell me. You tell me you don't like me, I know, okay, this is what I got to bob and weave. But if you don't tell me, and I'm trying hard to get to the top of the mountain, and you keep kicking me down, I'm never going to get there. And guess what? I've been bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just straight out tell me. Now I know what trickery I need to come up with to get around your system. Because I'm always going to get around the system, no matter what it is. But I need to know what it is, not lie to me like I feel like the Democrats have lied to Black people, like literally blatantly lied and strung them along. You know how you see a guy see a girl and he really likes her, so he'll do anything to get in her pants, right? And then as soon as he gets him, you'll be like, how come he didn't call me? He didn't call me. What happened?
Well, I mean, one of the obvious things to me is how around election time, you see all these white politicians in Black church.
Yes.
Right? When the elections are over, do they still go into the Black church?
No. One of the things we need to consider, though, and is that we have to not care about Republican or Democrat.
Right.
We have to have an agenda. If you don't support our agenda as a bloc, we withdraw our vote. So we will think, some people will say, well, if we don't vote, then we don't have any say, then we lose power. But what happens is if we don't vote, we take legitimacy out of the process. If enough people don't vote, the politicians are going to freak out, because then they're going to go and want to implement their own government because they don't believe in the government that's going on now. Every time we vote, we're legitimizing the government. Whether we vote for the winner or for the loser, we're still buying into the process. If we as a group don't buy into the process, it's going to crumble, or they're going to do what we need to do to get us involved. Consider it. Just consider it. We should study that.
I think so.
Right.
And I think we can start the test.
Right. Can I read something off? We have the Faith Factor. She has a great YouTube channel, and for some reason I can't bring her on what she's saying on the screen, but I can read it. She says here, she gave me a $20 super chat, which I appreciate.
Thank you for the super
Thank you,
chat.
sister, for that. She says, our weakness is making decisions based off of our emotions. If Trump gave us reparations, we would probably refuse because he's racist. We always shoot ourselves in the foot because we don't think in a strategy manner. And let me say shout out to brother CCNTV who came in too today. Let me say this. I understand. I hear what you're saying, Faith, and thank you for that super chat. But Donald Trump is already on record, on video record, saying that he ain't for no reparations. So we don't even need to make that argument, because the man, when he was president, said it. You know why? I seen the video. He said it when he was asked by the press. And what did he say, ladies and gentlemen? Hell to the no.
Right. And that is the only reason why I'm like,
That's just the facts. He said it out of his mouth.
Said about Muslims and about Black people, so that's why I don't like them at all. Period. But
the same way the Republicans broke off and started the Tea Party.
Yes.
What would happen if
the Black Party,
Black people started a part? I mean, and they got millions, right? They got millions.
The Black Tea.
The Black Tea Party. Yes, I think we should go for it.
The Black Tea Party.
The English.
It should be Black Tea Party.
You know, they would call it the Negro Party or the. But
my
I mean,
God.
obviously, we're not. A lot of Black people are not happy with the Democratic Party because
this is taken already.
Because we think that this is going to be the year that they're going to do something for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, no, we're let down. And then we know this is going to be the person. Biden's going to do it for us. You know what I mean? Kamala Harris is going to do it. And year after year, we're let down. And I keep asking this, what else do we need to see? What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? This one person is going to actually do something for Black people?
We're waiting for you to start the league, Carl. We'll follow.
Yeah, dude, I'm already there waiting. You know what I mean? But what Black people as a whole, We seem to be waiting for this great Messiah or this person that's going to be the person
Right.
going to do it for us.
It's us.
And every year
nobody's doing it for us.
Nobody's doing it for us.
I think one of the problems is that this is a country that this is a country and a system that we're living in that respects power, a power dynamic. And unfortunately, Black people, we don't have a power dynamic other than the fact that we are a big voting bloc for the Democratic Party to win in elections against the Republicans. Republicans already know that if it's big voter turnout, having some problem here, tongue tied, they lose. If the voter turnout is low, they win. So they know that they can kind of suppress our vote, but they also know that Black people don't have the sort of economic clout. And you say, well, why is it that other ethnic groups are able to get clout? Well, Asians in general, I'm generalizing here, have businesses, they have banks, they have independent wealth that they generate through their businesses. So they're not, they don't have to be loyal to any of these political parties. Matter of fact, these parties will come to them and beg them to find out what they need. I used to see this all the time in San Francisco. I had friends of all different races living in San Francisco, and you could see the difference in dynamics, how the Asian community is treated in San Francisco when it comes to political issues versus the Black community. And so until we get some level of cooperative economics amongst ourselves, they're not going to take us seriously.
No, because we have money, but we have no power.
We don't use our money strategically.
We don't use our power.
We don't have any power. Jeff Bezos can wake up in the morning and make a statement that can change the entire stock market. Elon Musk, the guy from Tesla, he can do the same. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. These are people with power.
Yeah, but
Black people have money, but we have no power. We don't have power to move or change anything of significance.
When you say that Black people don't have power, we have money. Some of us have money. When you say power, would that power encompass political power, influence over movers and shakers in this society? What form would that power manifest itself in?
I'm thinking like when I say power, like somebody like Jeff Bezos can wake up and he can say, I am buying such and such a stock, and the stock market can either go up or down.
Okay.
Elon Musk, that's what I'm thinking. That's where my head's at. You know.
Do we have any Black person? I know we got Brother Smith, who's a billionaire. We've got billionaires out there, but do the society shift and move with anything that they say out of their mouth? I think you make a very good point, brother.
But I'm saying also that I think that we actually have power. We just never have utilized it.
But not that kind of power.
Well, no,
serious power.
Yeah, but listen, what I'm saying is that so I forgot the numbers of how much we've spent in for hair products, for different various things. Black people spend trillions of dollars on massive amounts of things. I don't have time. I don't have the actual stats with me, but look it up. We spend a lot.
Like some on a billion.
If we were to do accountability and as block groups, we have our power. We just haven't utilized it, and we've been told so long that we don't have it that we actually believe it, and we don't utilize it because all the designers, like you said, but why don't we buy Black designers? That's on us. That's not on somebody.
But that's money we have. We have money, but not power.
With money is power. So if
the economic power.
Put it this way, and I'll give you an example. Remember when that stock was bought by those oh God, which was it? It was some kind of Game Boy stock or something. Remember
the Game Boy stock went up.
That's a small microcosm of what I'm talking about. If Black people were to wake up one day and say, you know what, 20,000 of us, just 20,000 of us said, you know what, we're all I'm making this up, buy a bunch of stock or whatever it is. You better believe if enough of us did it, you better believe people are going to be listening because they listened when Gucci and who else? Tommy Hilfiger, not Tommy Hilfiger, the guy with the boots. What's those boots? The boots that the Black guys wear.
Timberlands.
Made a mistake and said, oh, we don't want them people wearing our boots. And all the rappers had made those boot sales go up. And then they went down. And all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. We like those people wearing our boots." That's just a little microcosm of what I'm talking about. We have power. We just have not figured out as a collective group, how are we going to use it? What are we going to do if these politicians don't follow through? What can we take from them? What will we not give them? We have to put it together in a block. And it starts with one of us at a time, collectively adding on until we have thousands of us. We actually can send out a text to a whole group of us, a whole army of us, to say, you know what, we're not doing that. You see Black Twitter? Look at Black Twitter. Look at the Black app. I forgot the name of it. Black businesses, Black buy Black, or something like that. They started a whole thing. That thing is really, it's happening. It's going down. We're getting it together. We're slow, but we're getting together. And
if we had power, they would not ignore us and treat us like they don't care. And the reason the politicians continue to do, because they know we have we can't affect their lives. They don't care. They know we have money because we spend it, but economically they know we don't have it. We can't affect the stock market. We can't really do anything to them. You know what I mean? So they can treat us any way they want. That's why the Democrats do it. That's why the Republicans do it, because they know. I mean, that's why they have more respect for like the Chinese. Because I mean, you go into Chinatown, you actually see Chinese banks or Korean banks. I mean, you know what I mean? But how many Black banks do we really have out there? You know what I mean? We're just starting to get a few. You know what I mean?
Signed up with one.
I want to say that I think that the approach that we should take as a solution to this is it comes down to a mindset. If you look at other groups, what they have going for them before you talk about their economics or their businesses is that they have a mindset. I know for a fact that you have like in San Francisco where I lived at, you had Chinatown, and I knew kids that were growing up in high school that were Chinese, Japanese, what have you. And on the weekends, they had to go to Japanese or Chinese school to learn about their history and their culture. That's where the mindset was formed. And that mindset was formed to be not a worker, but to be a business owner. The problem with our people is that our mindset is oftentimes to work for someone rather than be the boss. We'll get excited over our kids getting a scholarship to go to college, some of us, to play for a football or basketball team, to play for a professional team where we're the players, but we're not the owners of the team, where white people in general train their sons and daughters to be the captains of industry. It starts with the mentality. I believe that it has to be changed through our youth. I don't know if we're going to manifest this with older black folks that have lived some life and they're kind of caught up in their ways. So I propose that the way to change that mindset is through the youth. That's why personally, my organization, my fraternity, we work with youth. We have academies where we bring in Black professionals to sort of encourage young ladies and young Black males in particular that they can be anything that they want by actually being with someone who's Black like them and seeing it, to build the mindset from step to finish, watching them through their elementary years to high school and their matriculation into college. And even if everybody doesn't go to college, maybe it's a skilled trade that they learn and we have someone that we pair them up with. So it's step by step, systematically. We need Black professionals to give of their time or invest financially in an organization that's doing it. I know a brother right now out of Philadelphia. I think I told y'all this before. Out of Philadelphia, he has a program called Urban Nerds Worldwide. That's brother George Makem. He's very well known. And he's already doing that, introducing STEM, getting kids out of their community, out of their areas, and letting them see other possibilities. And that's the step. It's changing the mindset. It may not be our generation, but it could be the younger generation that could change this, make the turn for the better. That's just my one solution. It's a long-term solution. It's not a quick fix.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's happening. I think, especially in the last couple of years now that people have been at home, but even before then, I think that, there has been that shift, even in the general workplace. Everybody's in this gig economy now, where they're realizing that they don't necessarily have to work for a corporation in order to make an impact. And they're getting more creative with how they earn their money. And I think that although college, of course, is important to a certain degree, even in cultivating the way you process and figure things out for yourself so you can have your own business. But there's so many ways now of being able to earn and to be have your own agency and determination. So I think we are on it. It is a slow process. It does take a while to shift, to have that shift in your thinking, and also to convince, younger people, to convince their parents that, they are doing something that's going to be valuable. And I think that also when that comes down to it, it's also going to be the different ways in which we can show our power. I think we are million, I don't know how many million, let's say 11 or 13 million people individually, but if we were to come together in blocks of, 50,000 people, 100,000 people here and there, we could make that impact. We could make things, people to stand up and take notice and really pay attention and do our bidding. But that is where we are. And we do have to learn also to trust each other a lot more. There are a lot of, we were just talking, I think, a little while back about how, we kind of give a side eye when somebody wants to do something. And I think, you have to also look at what these, the Asian communities do as far as cooperative businesses are concerned. When you have different Korean businesses, grocery stores and things like that, when they are buying from suppliers, they're buying as a block. So therefore, their price points can be a lot more effective and more attractive to people who they're trying to.
Can I say that the Asian community, the Hispanic community, the Jewish community, well, I won't say the Jewish community, or in the United States of America, the Jewish community and all these other groups that we're comparing ourselves to, in a sense, never had a Tulsa, Oklahoma put on them. Nobody, no white men ever went into Chinatown and burnt it down.
In America.
We had everything. We had Tulsa, Oklahoma, and other many towns like that were successful.
Good point, Kevin.
Black people living a successful life with their own businesses, their own theater, their own car lot, their own bank. We had our own bank. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and many of the other cities like that were thriving Black communities with their own schools and their own bowling alleys and ice cream shop and everything, And the white man went in and burnt it to the ground.
Well, no doubt, we have been barraged.
Communities never had to deal with that.
Yes, they never let up. They never let up on and making sure that we only get to a certain level before they come up and smash us back down. And even when you look at it, how many soul food restaurants do you see a line of Asian Americans lined up to get some ribs? And we support people across the cultural borders.
Yes, we do. Yes, and they never support us usually.
They don't do that for us. They stay at home.
Yeah.
Right. They don't support us. Anytime you can go into a Black community and you have an Asian business that is selling not only their food, but they're also cooking up our food and selling it to us, that tells you everything you need to know. It's where we are right now. And it's a sad state, but I have to agree with what the brother was saying, that no other group has gone through what we've gone through. But at some point in time, we got to make a transition. And that transition being that we've got to do something. We know that we've been dealt a bad deck of cards.
Right.
But at the same time, we got to do something about it because this generation is more technological savvy. We have more access to more than anything than our ancestors before us. If Black people can build their own communities like a Rosewood, which was destroyed, of course, because once again, another lie of a white woman saying that a Black man did some harm to her. If we could build Black Wall Street, and remember, there was also a Black Wall Street in North Carolina as well.
Yes, all over.
All over, right? All over. Yes. So our ancestors did that at a time when you can make the argument that they were under more higher forces of racism, prejudice, white supremacy, where somebody can go in their house, drag them out, take their life, and get away with it without the courts worrying about them. So when we look at that body of history, we have to ask ourselves, what's wrong with us? We've got more than they ever could dream of. So I don't want to say that these things are not the facts, but at some point in time, we have to recognize this is what holds us back, but we ain't going to let it stop us. This is what we need to do. I think right now that black people spend more time fighting each other more now. We are also one of our biggest enemies, ourselves, our fear, our hate and envy of one another. You all just told me here in the comic game, you got other black comedians who don't want to, share a little bit with each other. There's some little bit of haterism going on there where they're a little bit more pleasant to the white comedians when they come into tough territories like the Apollo Theater and out there in Harlem, New York. So if that's the fact, that shows you right there, we are in our own way, and we got to figure out a way to break out of that through the mindset, in my opinion. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody on board here. We got Black Votron in the house, everybody that's here. We're going to have to do another show because I don't even think we've touched half of the surface yet.
No, we haven't. Hey, can I say something?
And I don't want to take up all your time today. That's one. But go right ahead, brother.
I want to ask you a question real quickly, Information Man.
Yes, sir.
And we brought this up on our show. We did a show, and these questions came on the 5BlackComics show. Are black people really doing bad? I mean, how bad are we really doing? We keep saying
we're doing great.
We talk like we're in chains. That's
true.
Are we really doing that bad?
Nope, we're doing great.
We're doing a hell of a lot better than our ancestors.
Even people that live paycheck to paycheck, are we really, as a people, doing that bad?
Nope, doing great.
Because there are white people in West Virginia right now who probably living in a trailer park that's eating ramen noodles also. So are we really doing that bad? I mean, I would think everybody on this panel right now probably live in a house.
We're probably doing better than most people. We know that white folks during Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre, they were jealous of the wealth and the businesses that black people had, and that's one reason why they tore it down. I think we are a lot better off than other black folks that look like us in other diasporas of the world that would love to be in our place. So I would say yes, but at the same time, we do have some obstacles that we have to get over because we still are at the bottom of everything in statistics. So they say in this country, because, statistics can be manipulated. And we talked before when I was on your show about, the FBI statistics show that white people commit most of all the crime in this country, even though they make us the face of all crime. Once again, we've got to change that narrative. Black men and black women, we have to use these mediums to change the narrative as to what society is trying to do. We already know that society is trying to, and I know y'all talked about this on your show, society is also trying to make black men into black women, trying to feminize us. And this is no disrespect to ladies or even the gay community. It's just the fact that through history, black males have been, as for lack of a better word, they have been trying to buck break us.
Yes.
But I'm going to have to, for the sake of time, come to conclusion with this particular broadcast today. I want everybody to give their, not last words, but their great words as we end this. But I have to have you all come back multiple times to crack open more deeper with solutions and more deep surface issues that we have to deal with. I have to. There's no way I could. It's too much to unpack. Too much.
It's a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Information Man, for having us on the show. We were all so excited that you reached out to us. Like Kevin said, it is very unusual that another black person would reach out to help another Black person up the ladder and get our show out there and, get everyone onto what we are, discussing. So thank you. And thank you to everyone that's watching. And I hope you subscribe to our channel.
Definitely.
Truly appreciate it. With that being said, my one dream, if I can call it that, I just wish Black people would look at what we all go through. All of us, every single one. There's not a Black person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the farthest part of East, bumfuck, whatever, and you talk to a Black person, and you can start talking about race and racial issues, and without even knowing that person, we all can communicate on that level, no matter where you go in the world. So why we don't recognize that and support each other, that's a mystery to me, but I hope the people that are watching the show, I try to buy Black. If I need a plumber at my house, I try to find a Black plumber, Black electrician, whatever I need. I was looking for a place that sold pizza. I was hoping it was owned by Black, but I know that's very unusual. I try to shop Black as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope everyone watching the show would follow that lead. And let's try. I try to make Black, if I can make a Black millionaire, that's my goal, to make Black people financially, well off.
Fantastic, brother. And everybody, in the description of this video, I have the link to their channel. So please go over and subscribe to the 5BlackComics. If the moderators can drop the link periodically to the chat room, I appreciate that. This video, the way I predicted with my videos on my channel, it's going to get a lot of views as I continue to promote it and promote the video itself. So you should get quite a few people that will come over and subscribe to the channel and give you support. I want everybody to give them support. I will definitely be shouting out your channel every time I go live.
Thank you.
Because I believe it is important. And certain subjects that I talk about get a certain number of crowd over here. So I'm going to be really shouting you guys out. Most definitely. I want someone else to give us great thoughts before we end this today.
I want to say, so my ending thoughts are, how can we help each other, and how can we be, how can we get to where we need to go? So one of the things I say, we have to lift whoever we can when we can. That's one. So like when you having us on the show, to someone else it may be simple, to us it's a great thing, win-win for both of us, and it's a win-win for both of our audiences, right? Because then we're like-minded think to like, what's the saying? You know the saying. We have to help each other process when all these things happen to us, the shootings and when we're not getting our bank loans, when we're not getting, we have to have a soundboard. So information show, 5BlackComics, I think we're a great soundboard. We have to be able to process all the things that happen to us.
Yes.
We have to link up as Africans and African Americans and Caribbeans. We have to start supporting each other from over there to here and vice versa. We have to. That's the only way we're going to lift each other up on both sides, right? Another thing is we have to link
Tell the truth
with our allies, right? So we have people that are allies that may not be Black. We love you. We appreciate you. Everybody needs support. I don't care who you are. And we want to be doing it ourselves. But there's some people who can still share the word I Black and whatever. We appreciate that. And the last thing is we have to support each other no matter what. No matter what's going on, we have to support each other, because if we don't come together as one cohesive group, people will still keep defecating on us. That's what's happening.
Well,
we can't have it no more. We can't.
I want to just say this. I do believe that Black people in the diaspora of the world, whether you're from the Caribbean or from the continent of Africa, with those many countries that are in that continent, or from America, South America, wherever we are, we got to figure out a way to not be against each other. And let me just say this as a Black man born in America. Just because we as Black people in America want to identify our lineage here and the things that does not mean I'm against my brothers in Africa or in the Caribbean. It's just that every group has an identifying history to where they are. So it would be disrespectful of me to tell Black folks in the Caribbean, y'all don't need no reparations from Great Britain. Y'all don't need CARECOM and all those sort of programs. No, I can't tell you about what you need because I didn't go through, or my ancestors didn't go through the experience that Black people had in the Caribbean as it relates to slavery and the slave trade and the brutality of it all. So we have to figure out a way to unify and get past our flags, because when they stop me and stop all of you on this panel and in the chat room, they're not going to ask you, are you from Jamaica or from Nigeria or South Africa or Ghana? You're not Black American. You're not. Oh, I ain't gonna beat you up and chump charges on you. They gonna chump charges on your Black. You know what? No matter where you from. Okay. Any other great words?
I just want to say happy birthday to a shout out to Michelle Obama.
Okay, clap it up.
And Dr. King.
Dr. King Day today. Definitely, Dr. King is definitely the man that we should. Go ahead, brother.
Lost his life at the age of 39. Way too young. He didn't get a chance to see his kids grow up. If he's alive today, he'd be 93.
That's
right. He would be alive today if he wasn't killed. Because 93 people still are alive. So he'll be 93 if he's alive.
Yes.
Lost his life at 39. Way too young.
Yes.
Thanks for your sacrifice, Dr.
Yeah,
King.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Yes.
Most definitely. 100%, brother. I appreciate having you on this commentary. Everything we said today has been powerful. I got to have you all. I got to have y'all come back for more series. I'm going to have to. I don't know how your schedule is, but I got to. It's got to happen.
Well, this was like church on a Sunday, man. We building fund, y'all collecting for
that. Happy birthday, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
One of the baddest men ever. Muhammad Ali. Happy birthday.
Steve Harvey,
I'm done.
too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't add anything on to what we already said. Just say, I love you guys. We got to work together. Together we win. Let's work. Let's do this.
Yes.
Yes. I think, programs like this and ours, the platforms that we give to people to hear some things, and also to inform our younger people who are coming up about the struggle. And it has been a struggle and will continue to be a struggle until we can get to the point where we feel as though we've received the justice that we rightfully deserve. So I think it's important to have these platforms. I'm really glad that we got to come on here and spend some time with you. And I'm sure we'll do a lot more collaboration as time goes by. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to do more collaborations because we haven't even touched the surface. There's more specific areas. I got a whole list on this paper of other questions I didn't even get to that I could even save for next time. I'm going to be watching your channel, of course. I want everybody in the chat room to subscribe to the 5BlackComics, the 5BlackComics. The description to their video and link to that video is in the description of this video. I keep saying that. And I want everybody in the chat room, if you are a moderator, if you could run their channel to the chat room, I would appreciate that if you could. This video is going to be continued to be promoted. I know how my audience is. I know how people that sub to me are. I get most of my views after my video is over and it starts to accumulate and build up. So you're going to get a lot of people that are going to watch and they're going to want to go right over to your channel and drop their support to you. And because I'm going to keep talking about you all, you great Black people on this great day of MLK, Dr. Martin Luther King. I want to thank all of you for being here. And we'll have to do it again. And thank you for your time, your efforts, and the time that you took out of your busy schedules to be over here and to listen, to spend time with my audience, your audience, of course, that's come over. And we got to do it again. I really appreciate you all again. I can't thank you. And this is the thing that I have to say to you before we go. A lot of times I kind of agree with what you had said about how things are in comedy with Black comics. Sometimes you try to connect with Black people on these social mediums like this, and you think you never know what you're going to get. You might get people that's arrogant. They don't write you back. Oh, okay, yeah, we gonna do something, and you never hear from them. Yep. Or they look down. We some of our people, we have this way about ourselves. But I've been doing this for a long time. When I see that there's people out there that's doing something that's positive, I want to connect with them. We need to be yoked with other people that are doing things that's resonating what we want.
Yes.
what we want to see in ourselves, what we want to see in the world, what we want to see for our communities. So when anytime I see a black woman, a black man, black people doing something that's positive on these social mediums, I want to connect with them because I feel that I got something in common with them. And I want those type of allies as a force to be reckoned with. So y'all take care and thank you. We're going to get on out of here.
Thank you.
And thank you again. Another clap for you all again. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You have the 5 Black Comics. They were on the show today. I want to appreciate everybody that came over. I know it's a holiday and people are with family and what have you, but I'm glad that you all came over. You joined in. You listened to the program. I hope everybody got something powerful out of the program today. Everybody in the chat room that's been rocking with me today, thank you. Whether it be Miss Jones, the sister here that I never can get her name correct, Miss Merchis. Thank you, sister, for coming over and supporting the program. We've got Finding is in the house saying great live stream. And we were streaming on all platforms tonight. So there's people that are probably watching this in the Facebook and the Roku TV and one of my Twitter pages that I have. I got a bunch of stuff running around here on social media. We got Black Voltron that came in the house, giving great support. Sister M. Kim Savvy, Bling Emporium, who came over. My man, Earl Owens, who's been rocking pretty heavy with the program for a long time. Oh, some chick named Star, who's one of my moderators in the chat room. And I got to give some respect to my man right here, and that is the real Aaron Collins.
Thank you for the super
And with that
chat.
said, before I go, I got to play the super chat music in the celebration because people were super chatting me and I didn't get a chance to really put it out there like that. So this is what we're going to do.
Tell them run it up.
Here we go.
Thank you for the super chat.
I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check, no drip, this wet. Tell them run it
Tell the truth.
No sleep, no rest, might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check, no drip, this wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest, might crash, might wreck, but first I stretch. Tell them run it up. Now that the 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number one up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down now, check, no drip, this wet. Tell them run it up, no sleep.
All right, everybody. Thank you for that super chat. Real Aaron Collins super chatted me, and I really appreciate that, brother, for you coming over, giving me that $5 super chat. It goes back into the show. It supports the show. And it also allows me to improve the content, improve the look of the show. I got a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline for this program and other projects I have in the works. Let me show you something here. If I could find this real quick. I've got another channel that I'm working on. It's called Info Media. I'll be doing weekly tips on live streaming, how to maximize your YouTube. So if those of you out there that are trying to build your YouTube channels, I'm going to be talking about all the tricks and all the different tips that you need to get your social media presence off the ground, how to improve your channel, all the certain things, the keyword search, the tags that you need, the banner that you should create, all these different things. And then I'll be talking about live streaming, the equipment that's necessary to get create a great atmosphere on your live stream. I'll be also going out with my camera out there in the world where I'll be talking about live streaming while I'm out in the community. So this is something I'm working on, and I'm gonna launch it very, very, very soon. So I want everybody to go over to Info Media and subscribe to that channel. I'm gonna grow this channel the old-fashioned way, very organically. Take my time. I don't care how long it takes. Most of the content on this channel will be searchable content that could be possibly evergreen content. Understanding how YouTube works and how to leverage it to your best ability. So for those of you out there who are starting channels, definitely check out Info Nation Man's Info Media, coming very soon to a theater near you. So I want to thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the program.
Nation Man, please make sure to
subscribe to the program. And let me put this back up here. Let me put Dr. King back up here right next to me. So today is MLK Day, and this is a great man. Everybody keep Dr. King's memory, not only his memory, but his goals, his ideals, his objectives. And that is, you need to fight for your right to vote. You need to not only voting, but we need to fight for everything. This is not a man who was just dreaming, but he was also talking about going. And remember, before he was assassinated in this country, Dr. King was getting ready to go after corporations, right? You had black men that were crushed in those sanitation workers, black men that were crushed in those sanitation trucks. And then they took his life. And I believe that they allowed this to happen to Dr. King. Oh, yeah. Because that hotel that he stayed at, ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't even where he was supposed to stay. He was detoured. And I'm going to say something that may be blasphemy for some of you. You know, historically, when they destroy one of us, they use people within our inner circle. I'll stop right there. They use people that look like us in our inner circle. And I just wonder, because remember, I shouldn't say this, but remember Jesse Jackson lied and said that he sort of had Dr. King in his arms in a bloody shirt, and come and find out that was speculation on his part or a lie. I probably shouldn't say this because, you know, Jesse Jackson is an elderly age now, but I'm just letting you know why. I always ask myself, this might be blasphemy again, why did they let him get out there on that open space of that hotel like that when they knew he was already a man who was, if I'm not mistaken, he was stabbed and almost killed one time in Memphis? Everybody, thank you again. And I want y'all to share this video. I'm going to get ready to get out of here. And as I get out of here, because we had the great 5 comics on today, as a tribute to them, I'll be doing a slideshow of some of the best comedians in the business that I could pick from. I might have missed a few people. I'm going to start with who I think is the king, in my opinion, maybe not my opinion, everybody's opinion, who has to be the king of comedy. And that, in my opinion, is Richard Pryor. So with that said, everybody, thank you in the chat room. Thank you for the super chats. I'll be back with more content. Everybody in that chat room, you are the best. Thank you again with that. And with that said, here we go. And then we got Red Fox. Check out this picture of Red Fox, though. This one's a good one, folks. He getting his hair cut. Look at him, younger version of Red Fox.
Just pulled up to the house. Don't feel like getting out. I'ma just lay back and crack this window.
And we got Moms. This is a legend here. Moms Mabley. Dick Gregory.
Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Already got the world on me.
Of course, Bill Cosby.
You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, better way.
The great Flip Wilson. How many of y'all remember the Flip Wilson show? Having a tongue tied today. Flip Wilson. Aunt Esther. The great Paul Mooney wrote a lot of material for Richard Pryor, if I'm not mistaken. I met Paul Mooney in San Francisco because his mom lived in San Francisco in the Fillmore area. He was just going around. He was just shopping. Just shopping. Here is the real Nipsey Hussle, not the one that unfortunately was taken from us, the rapper Nipsey Hussle. This is the real Nipsey Hussle right here. And of course, Richard Pryor, ladies and gentlemen, of course. Richard Pryor to me is the greatest, but this is the man who looked up to Richard Pryor, and that is one Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was a big fan of Richard Pryor. That was his man in the comedy game that he looked up to. So let's continue with this slide show, shall we? And then we have the one and only, this man right here. God. Brother Harris, I wish he had never passed away. It's no telling Robert Harris how much incredible material and talent this man had. Man, Baby's Kids. I'm elevating and crashing in the bed, but instead I hit my rooftop and watch the world go, penning this shit inside my journal. And of course, Bernie Mac. I loved it. He great. This man was all time funny. And then this man right here. I got a story about Sinbad. Y'all need to hear. So anyway, when I was growing up, I had a female friend of mine that I grew up with, and Sinbad used to do a show in Jamaica. And I think he was in Jamaica one year getting ready to do a show. And I think it was like a show. It was a whole festival that they were having down there featuring Sinbad. And a childhood friend of mine, she went traveling down there with some friends of hers, and she got unfortunately in a car crash. I'm telling you, this is what kind of man Sinbad is. And she was killed in this car crash. When Sinbad found out about what happened to the young ladies, because unfortunately they weren't willing to send the bodies back home, and there was a whole mess that was going on over there around the issue of their bodies, and the family didn't have much money. Sinbad got in contact with the family and said that he would pay for everything. He would pay to have her bodies, her and her friends, sent back to the States, and that he also paid for the funeral. This is Sinbad out of his own pocket. And years ago, I knew someone that knew Sinbad, and I was able to make contact with Sinbad, or at least through a message from that person to him, someone that I knew that ran a comedy club in the Bay Area. And he remembered exactly this situation. And I said, I want you to let Sinbad know that I appreciate what he did. I appreciate what he stood for in doing that. So that's Sinbad, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to let y'all know that. Let's go on. The Wayans brothers.
Tell the truth.
Of course, we got Chris Rock.
Yo,
I pitch wisdom for the kids, them. Solid as a prism, keeps a funky rhythm. If I want it, I go and get it. My blood
Dave Chappelle, who I think Dave Chappelle is this generation's Richard Pryor, in my opinion. This generation's Richard Pryor. I'm not saying he is Richard Pryor. Of course, Chris Tucker. Craig, you ain't got a job? You ain't got nothing to do. I'm gonna get you high today, Craig. Everybody knows who this man is. He's acting, comedy, he does it all. Jamie Foxx. And of course, Monique. And of course, we've got Kevin Hart. And I gotta say something. He did a movie on Netflix called True Stories. I gotta be honest. I think his dramatic skills are almost better than his comedic skills. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that his comedic skills, I think he's more funnier in movies than he is on stage, in my opinion, in terms of his on-stage comedy routine. In movies where he plays characters, he's hella funny, but his dramatic role in True Stories, I think he could switch over if he wanted to do so with that style. This is my opinion. All right, Damian Wayne's here. We got another Wayne brother.
On to the next, y'all. 84 pull up out the lot slow. Not scroll, but the knowledge we got lots for. Kim tripping, I could too do the impossible. We got
Sister Tiffany Haddock in the house here, and of course she got in a little bit of a pickle where they found her on the road. So they say in her car, they're saying that she was a little high or whatever, marijuana, I don't know, got stopped on some road, and so that's become quite a mess. But I think she's more funnier when she's doing skits as well in movies and things of that nature. Tiffany Haddock. Of course, we got Cat Williams, who I think is funny as all get out. I kind of wish he would do more. I wish he would do more comedy and get into less trouble with himself out there on these streets. But that's just my opinion. Cedric the Entertainer. We already know his famous role he played in the barbershop, and they got mad when Cedric said, hey, you know what? Rosa Parks ain't the only black person who didn't give up their seat. And, you know, he took a lot of criticism for making that statement in the movie. But it's true. Rosa Parks was not the only black person who did not give up her seat. Matter of fact, there was a black woman before her, but because she was a teenage pregnant woman, she was pregnant. It didn't look good. And of course, Rosa Parks was a part of the NAACP as a secretary and what have you. But many black folks that you never heard of didn't want to give up their seat. And it's just the truth. I got to be honest about that. And I think what he said was truthful. But he got a lot of criticism. And we got the bam, 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 pow, pow, pow man here. Witherspoon. Pow, 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 pow. Pow, pow. I always liked him. And
told you so extra, but I know I'm the same.
Pow, 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 bang.
Give me what I need instead.
He said, Craig, back in my day, Craig, we only had two things in our hands to be able to fight. Bam, 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 bam. Who ate all the pig's feet in here? I'm going to coordinate. Remember in the Boomerang movie? He said, I got a mushroom belt. I got a mushroom suit. I'm going to coordinate. And of course, we got the Wayne brothers. Keenan and Waynes, Damian Waynes, the whole crew right there. Their family's been in the business for a long time. In Living Color was a complete classic. Truthful classic. I got to clap to that. A complete classic, ladies and gentlemen.
We could go all night, all night. Do we heal, do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead, but we could go
Everybody in the chat room, thank you for coming over and being a part of this.
But the night get that good till we act right. So tell me where we on the day.
Catch the Information Man show on Roku TV.
When you go low, I go low too.
By way of BS3 TV live on Roku TV.
I'd rather be on that wave, trying to control our emotions.
Take care, everybody.
We could share love in the ocean, but if you wanna go insane, either way,
Dr. King, MLK Day.
we could do it all night. We could go all night, all night. Do we heal? Do we bleed? I'ma follow your lead. We could go all night.
I've been calm, cool, collected, but you pushing on my nerves, and I'm knowing your intention. I'm under pressure. Okay, I'm admitting that a couple things I said got acidic in the tone, and the presence I get careless. Long as you know I come with imperfections. When you look at me, you see the soul through my flesh. You something special. Know you looking bomb, the way you dress it, gone, flex it, hold it still and let my mind digest. You got the leverage, you got the upper handle on the situation.
Everybody take care.
The storms that we weather, we fight retreating this, but you trying to kill the cycle. When nobody's stressing that body like me, I know the way you like it. I treat you like a queen, run the castle, you a treasure. Feel like you setting fire to my desire for the pleasure.
And thank you again.